Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are here for the final round of the group stage fixtures before the quarterfinals. New Zealand, they will be taking on Uruguay after a successful victory last week up against the Italians. The Kiwis are now eyeing the top two. They are currently in there. And if they win this game comfortably, then all of a sudden, Italy versus France becomes a playoff game. Currently sitting on the table, France in first. That points differential of 125. The 13 points, all three wins, but those bonus points could become crucial near the end of the competition. New Zealand sitting on the 2 wins so far with the 10 points. Same with Italy, although the points differential very different for these two sides, even though the head-to-head is the factor that they do look at. Uruguay on the 5 points after getting themselves the win over the Namibians. But the big question is, where will Uruguay finish overall? Will the Namibians, at the moment, they are sitting at the bottom of the bunch. Is there a chance for Uruguay to just push that little bit higher on the table? We will have to wait and see. South Africa, they are sitting in first at the moment in Pool B. Ireland in second on 14 and Scotland on the 10. All three of those sides still not quite safe for this Rugby World Cup competition. On the other side of the draw, there are only 2 teams that have confirmed their spot in the quarterfinals as of yet, they being Wales and also England. Japan versus Argentina happening a little bit later on in the weekend. That will be a deciding contest. Fiji, they do need to win their game up against the Portuguese or get within the 7 points to walk away with a quarter-final spot. But I hope you guys are all doing well. We've got quite a few people in the chat already, so I hope you guys are all excited for this contest. We've got morning, brother Hamish, let's go ABs. Says Flanders there, go the ABs, should win by at least 50. Says DJ. And also, Hamish Bro, what a New Zealand good starting World Cup campaign, 2023. Says Vishal, yeah, the Black Caps doing extremely well, not wearing the suit, and good morning, says Kevin Layla. Yeah, we got just the one game on today, so we decided to wear a hoodie rather than the full-on suit. Looking through at the lineups for these two sides. First of all, for New Zealand, Ofa Tuingafasi at number 1, Cody Taylor 2, and Tyrell Lomax as the number 3. So the only real change in that front row for the ABs is actually Lomax coming into the starting lineup rather than coming off the bench like he did in the last game up against Italy. A new combination at 4 and 5. Sam Whitelock brings up his 150th cap for New Zealand. He is at 4, and Tupavai, a man who's had a little bit of game time, actually started the competition at blindside flanker due to the injury we did see as Sam Cane. Now finds himself back in the lock and duo. Shannon Frizzell at number 6, another man who was injured at the start of this Rugby World Cup competition. Sam Cane returning from his back injury. He did get a bit of minutes, or a few minutes, off the bench last week. Now finds himself in the starting lineup. And then Luke Jacobson, he will be the starting 8. That is rather than Artie Savia, who is being rested completely for this game, so he is fresh for those quarterfinals. Cam Roygaard once again finds himself as the starting 9. The last time we saw that was in the game up against Namibia, and Richie Mo'unga will be the 10. So a new combination. So last time we saw Roygaard start, it was alongside McKenzie. Now Mo'unga earning himself some pretty solid minutes at number 10, although we do still see D-Mac make an appearance in the starting lineup for the ABs, playing at fullback rather than 10. Geordie Barrett at number 12 with Anton Leonard-Brown at number 13, so no Rieko Ioane for the ABs in this contest. Lester Whainanuku out on the left wing, Will Jordan out on the right, the two Crusaders representatives, and then Damian McKenzie at number 15 for the first time, I believe in 2023, or at least in the last little while, because it has been Beauden Barrett for so long. McKenzie has a big game here, maybe causes a bit of a headache for the AB selectors. Looking through at the chat, we've got, there you go, Portugal, says Mr. Lerman, good morning. Says Ian Foster, welcome in, hope you are doing very well. Good morning, Aaron, says Zion. AB's got this, says Jeremy Rogers. And score 120 to the AB, says Kit Dyer. And evening all. It's currently 8:18 here in Cape Town. Really want Italy to continue. So hoping Uruguay teach New Zealand a lesson, says Denzel. Although there is still a chance that even if New Zealand win this game, Italy, if they beat France, they will still advance anyway. So I guess it's just that question mark of how many bonus points do the French get in that game, depending on, of course, the result of this one. And then, yeah, Italy could actually still go through ahead of France, even with a simple win over the French in their game tomorrow. Harrisburg party morning at New Zealand. Unbelievable stat at the World Cup. Devon Conway and Rachin Ravindra superbly batting at the opening game against defending champion England. Says Michelle, and tell you what, some Kiwis will be very lucky, or very happy, I guess you could say, that we saw the Golden Duck because with that golden duck came a massive partnership between two New Zealanders. Anton Leonard-Brown has passed it. Time to look into the future with Peter Umaga-Jensen and Billy Proctor combo, says Ian Foster. I actually think that's someone who they might have missed the boat with here for this World Cup. Definitely if they, well, of course they couldn't predict that Rieko Ioane was going to be out of form, but the perfect fill-in at the moment would have probably been Braden Ennor, seeing as he was on the side for the Rugby Championship. He didn't really do anything wrong at 13, but they decided to take him out and then keep Ioane in alongside a few of the other backs that they did decide to use. Like, rather than Caleb Clark, if they had Ennor at the moment, I feel like that would solve quite a few of their problems, as they do seem to have quite a few inside centres rather than outside centres for the AB squad. At the moment, good morning from Fiji. Welcome in. Hope you are doing extremely well. When is kickoff? Kickoff is in 40 minutes time, so we are a little bit away, but we've got quite a bit to talk about before getting into this matchup, as well as all the other matches we've got of this weekend. Go the ABs. Hopefully Uruguay put on a bit of a show. This will be great for South American rugby. The difference stays under 50 points. There's been the Chilean Mari. And the thing is, Uruguay, in their last few games, they have actually shown they are more than competitive at times, because up against the French side, even though they had quite a few changes that they had made, we still saw Uruguay not concede a bonus point for allowing the opposition to score 4 or more tries. That is something that is very tricky to do. That is something that the All Blacks were also able to do up against the French. But the fact that Uruguay were able to do that same feat, and if it wasn't for that last 20 minutes or so, could have walked away with a massive upset, means that hopefully they'll be up for the task in this game as well. Good evening, Amish from Mozambique, says Orlando. Welcome in. And DMAC will smile with ease, says Mr. Loom. Did you hear Ian Foster, the New Zealand coach, bad-mouthing Rasmus, the cheek of Ian Foster, the coach? Says Monet, surely it's not the bad-mouthing that I think you're talking about, how he said about, I think it was the fast-paced rugby, wasn't it? I think people have taken that way out of proportion, I should say. I heard the statement and I was like, it's not really that bad. So if it's not that one, then I apologise, and I would like to hear what it is. But if it is the one that Ian Foster just said, that the All Blacks are going to try and play that extremely fast-paced rugby where they score a lot of tries, I feel like that's no different to what we've heard from any other coach around the world lately. It's just because it's the AB's coach that said it that now everyone's throwing the teddies out the cot. We have got Go the All Blacks, says Sheehan, and also we have got the All Blacks 76-15, says Michelle, and when is kickoff, says Babyface, still in about 37 minutes time. Good to hear you. Looking forward to the smashing commentary, and thank you for your excellent, or smashing game. Thank you for your excellent commentary and passion for the game, says David. Thank you very much. And also we have got the afternoon hammy, says Yvonne. Welcome in. And Dane Cole, says Mr. Lerm. Yeah, nowhere to be seen in this lineup for the All Blacks or off the bench. Who's likely to do the goals for New Zealand? Options are plenty. I would say, I think they'll go with Mo'unga. There's no point changing it if he's already been kicking them throughout a majority of the other contests. They might look at Geordie Barrett for the real long kicks, but I'd say Mo'unga, anything inside of the half, will be kicking it. For the ABs, Caleb Clark has a complete slot space waste, nothing on the man himself, but he's been out of form, barely played when he's played his average, etc. Says Ian Foster. Yeah, it was probably the biggest surprise in that AB's backline for a lot of people, mainly because they were just hoping that there would be either Sean Stevenson, or they might look to go with another centre option just in case. The likes of, like I said, Braden Ennor could have been a good shout for the ABs in this one. They need a Nonu Smith combo in the centres. We lacking in this area, says Crown and Glory, and Kia ora champ bonjour from Cape Town, says Albert. I hope this is a better test for the ABs than Italy, says Yvonne. I believe it will be. I think that we're going to get to see a lot more from the Uruguayans. Now, I don't want to jinx them, of course, but throughout their other games, they've looked relatively solid. We're going to be looking through at those previous fixtures in a very short moment. But first of all, we will look through at their starting lineup. It is Sanguetti at number 1. Number 2, they have gone with Germain Kessler. And number 3, Diego Arbello. So these 3 men will have a lot of pressure on them when it comes to the scrum time. But if they can get it relatively stable, relatively solid, then maybe they can get themselves, or they can keep themselves in the match, I think is the better way. Putting it in Dotti at number 4, and it is going to be Liendika at number 5. Ardo, he has played a lot of minutes for Uruguay throughout this Rugby World Cup, keeping his spot at number 6. Bianchi at number 7, and then it will be, I believe, Manuel Diana at number 8. Arata keeps his spot at 9, with Felipe Echeverri at 10. Villaseca, the captain, at 12, and Inciarte on his outside at number 13. Then Nicolas Freitas, he is an X-Factor player for the Uruguayans here. He'll be hoping to score, although he is going head-to-head with Will Jordan in this contest. Mieres out on the right wing, and then Rodrigo Silva to close out this Uruguay starting lineup. We have got there. Our coaches are spicy because they see the Springboks as a threat. I don't blame them. Are we on everyone's lips? Says Denzel, and from a country that has recently lost to the ABs by 100, Uruguay are orders of magnitude better and will keep it close to what they did against France. Says Gus. And also we have got there, Fozzie just chucks guys in for the sake of it, says Trajan. Yeah, they made 9 changes in this starting lineup for the ABs compared to what they did have in their last game. Quite a few changes off the bench, one of the more notable ones being Ethan Blackadder, now getting his first chance. Hey bud, who do you have between Japan and the Pumas? Says Hendrick. I'll be honest, I started off the World Cup thinking it would be Argentina. But now, as we progress through this Rugby World Cup competition, I think the more consistent team has probably been Japan, so it could go either way. But I still think Los Pumas should be able to dig deep and get themselves the win. Ian Foster, the coach, said the Box versus Ireland match was not so exciting as New Zealand versus Italy match. Says Monet Lagrange. Yeah, see, that's one of those statements that, of course, he's going to say that a game with over 15 tries or whatever the stat was is going to be the more entertaining one. Some people will agree, some people will disagree. But either way, people will take statements from coaches. And to be honest, if you look through any press conference, you look at an Eddie Jones press conference, a Jacques Naneiba, whose name I still can't say properly, press conference, you could take one sentence and you could easily blow it up out of proportion. And I feel like that's slightly what's happened in that scenario. Like, at the end of the day, Ian Foster, just with that statement, doesn't mean that he doesn't think that Ireland or the Springboks would beat the All Blacks. It doesn't mean that he necessarily felt that that game wasn't entertaining. He just said that the game and the performance that the All Blacks put on, he felt in his mind was just that little bit better. I agree. I think if Springboks, Ireland, South Africa game was free-flowing, rugby is objectively better than a slow-structured rugby game, says Ian Foster. And we have got their time for morning Weet-Bix, says Mr. Lerman. Uruguay wins by 2 points. They have been looking deadly the entire World Cup, says Stefan. And also, yes, Argentina will beat Japan. Can't say by how many points, says Orlando. It's surprising that many commentators seem to attribute Italy's poor performance as the only reason for the high score against them, overlooking the accuracy and skill of the All Blacks. Your thoughts, says Kurt? It was definitely the best All Blacks performance we have seen throughout this Rugby World Cup by far. Now, Italy, there was a lot wrong with the way that they played, of course, but the All Blacks, they were clinical when they got their opportunities, which is exactly what they'll need to do here, because the big thing for the All Blacks at the moment is trying to build some sort of form and consistency across their side, and by making so many changes in the starting lineup each week, of course, that is going to be hard to be able to do. But if they can go into those playoff games with a whole side in form rather than a starting 15 or a starting 20 or so players, they will be a hard side to beat, and that is what they're trying to build from here, I would say, with this performance. I love your information, says Richie and Jessica. Thank you very much. Do you think Manu Samoa will upset England? Samoa has been really poor, but I guess it would mean they at least qualify for the next World Cup, says Mus. Yeah, at this stage, it's a big opportunity for Samoa to at least get themselves that qualification, because that will save a lot of trouble, definitely depending on how some of the other groups do finish. I think that Samoa, they will probably come up short in that game, which is a shame, because I feel like if it was a game that could have helped them get through to the playoffs, we might have seen a little bit more fight, a bit more determination. People have taken this statement personally. He's not commenting on South Africa or Ireland themselves, commenting on boring rugby gameplay, says Ian Foster. And g'day all, good to be back here once more. And the All Blacks should approach this no differently. To the Italy match, why change a winning formula? Italy wasn't so much poor. New Zealand at its best, be lucky. Says Stephen, a neighbour as always, or will always be tricky because there is Rassi, says Jeremy. And also thanks Pozzie, and also Hamish. Why did they leave the two Barrett boys on the bench? I would have liked them playing in this game, says Kevin. I think that it's about trying to manage their game time, manage the minutes that they do play before the quarterfinals, and that, you know, some people might consider that as the All Blacks thinking they're going further than the quarterfinals, because, or else theoretically they may look at it as the All Blacks will be playing their best side each and every week, but they have decided that they need to be as fresh as possible. I probably wouldn't have even had them off the bench, to be honest, just so that they were completely fresh, but I guess they want to give them some minutes under their belt before heading into those next matchups. They are just showing the fact that Ethan Blackadder will be coming off the bench in this contest, ladies and gentlemen, alongside a few other changes in the All Blacks bench. So Masoni Taukei'aho at number 16, Tamaiti Williams and Fletcher Null as the front row replacements for this game. Scott Barrett keeps his spot in the side. He will be number 19 and Ethan Blackadder at number 20 for this game. Finley Christie, Bowden Barrett and Caleb Clark, the three Blues boys as the back replacements. For the Uruguayans, we've seen a bit more of Benitez than some of the other names throughout the last few games. Chaveta at number 20 will be one to watch out for, and also Alonso at 23. They had a bit of late pace, and the big thing for Uruguay will be trying to match the tempo of the All Blacks, which can be extremely hard to do. If they've learned anything from that last game up against the Italians, or watching that game between New Zealand and Italy, it will be that you need to try and slow down the breakdown so that the All Blacks aren't allowed that free-flowing rugby that we saw throughout that Italian game. Definitely in the second half, they just kept on ramping it up and up and up, showing that they've got great fitness. Whereas Uruguay, they have had 3 games of this Rugby World Cup, which I believe they'll be proud of every single one of them. They managed to have a close game up against the French in their opening round of the Rugby World Cup. Well, their opening game, it was actually round 2. They managed to lose that game 27 points to 12, but not conceding a bonus point for 4 or more tries. Italy versus Uruguay will be taking place, or did take place, sorry. The Italians winning at 38 points to 17, which I think, based on that result, a lot of people are thinking this game is going to have 100 points against Uruguay, but I believe could end up being that little bit closer. And then they had themselves the victory over Namibia, 36 points to 26. And that was one of those performances that I guess were a nice foundation builder as they head towards this game, their final one of the group stages, where they do go head-to-head with the All Blacks. We have got there in the chat, I click draw every time because of my OCD. I still feel like the breakdown, even though they not fans or huge fans of South Africa, see School Story Bro. And also next time Box play the All Blacks, Box will cry. Says Grant, and injuries could cost All Blacks quarterfinal maybe in Scotland, says Mr. Lerm. Go the All Blacks, says Josh, and also Uruguay by 10, says Roost. And we're going to see an upset tonight, says Justin. I assume you're talking this game, so that's the only one taking place at the moment. What do you think about 6 Blackadder, 7 Christie, 8 Grace, loose forward trio for the Kiwi lads? I mean, if it was what got selected, I would say that a lot of people, of course, with Scott Robinson at the helm, would say that he's just picking his own boys, but he would have seen what they've been able to do throughout the Crusaders campaigns. Cullen Grace, I feel like I'd like to see him back in the ABs, just because he got injured at the wrong time, and then he came back, and then he got injured again, which left him out. And if he's not careful, he's going to get that same, I guess, trait as Ethan Blackadder, which is, you know, he plays well, and then he ends up with some sort of injury that leaves him out for a long period of time. We have got there for the sake of attracting more rugby fans. We need more running and less kicking, says Stone Cold. And also, you're not OCD in the house, or you're not the only OCD in the house, says Denzel. All Blacks by 40, says Grant. And Uruguay versus France was a good match. They played so well, says Justin. And also, did the Black Cats win this morning? They did indeed, doing very well throughout that game, actually winning it with only 1 wicket lost. And Uruguay 35, New Zealand 7. And honestly, not invested in this game, but rooting for Uruguay to cause an upset, says Denzel. And Geordie Barrett to run a mark. He was the game changer for the All Blacks in that last game up against the Italians. He seemed to really add that impact for the ABs. This was a weird cricket game, only about 100 people in the 132,000 seat stadium. I thought Indians were cricket mad. Says Trajan, well, I'd assume if there was only 100 in the stadium, then there would have been some sort of precautions or some sort of regulations that they had to follow, that they weren't allowed to have more people there, because I'd assume that if they were allowed to have maxed out people, only having 100 means that there was some sort of restriction put on the stadium. What time is the game? It has taken place in 25 minutes time, so we aren't too far away at all. Will be an 8 a.m. kickoff here in New Zealand. Looking forward to hearing your commentary during this game. Says Wyatt Works, thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated you being here. What's the subscriber goal for this weekend? Says Kurt. I'll be honest, I think we've already blown every subscriber goal out of the water. So I guess like 40,000 by the end of the World Cup, I guess is the major goal. But like you guys know, we just take this week by week, day by day, and yeah, the channel seems to be growing pretty well, and it is all down to you guys being here. What do you think of Antoine Dupont playing in tomorrow's game? I think personally it's a risky move. I thought he wasn't in the lineup. I saw Luku in the starting lineup, and I saw Kuyu off the bench. So I don't think he is playing Mornay in that next match. I think the Box expectations for all their fans is higher than most Kiwis, as if the Box were to lose, it would be more devastating, says Mus. Hopefully not invested. Oh, sorry. I read that one from Denzel, didn't I? And Lebok or Pollard, your choice. I think that for myself, it's tricky. Whoever you have in the starting lineup, you've got to have off the other fella off the bench, though. I did do a Springboks 15. I did put Pollard in the starting side just because I have a little bit of a feeling that might be what way the Springboks do go. But I would like to see Mani Libok get that opportunity alongside either Kobus Reinach or Faf de Klerk in that starting lineup. We have got there was a weird cricket game, says Trajan. And also we have got there as well. Did you see WADA's warn to South Africa, says Justin? If that is the thingy-mabob that came out about the South Africans maybe not being able to go under South Africa and not being able to use their flag, then I saw a very brief amount, but I haven't read up on it enough to be able to comment on it. Usually, what's your thoughts on Whainā Nuku at 13? I would have liked to see it. I feel like this would have been a game that the ABs might have considered it had it not been won before the quarterfinals. It's the kind of thing that they should have done about 3 or 4 weeks ago rather than doing it just before a playoff game, because I guess if you do that, then you just cause a little bit of confusion amongst your team rather than straightforward of whereabouts players are going to be. I believe they'll go with Rico Ioane at 13 the end of the day during those playoff games, and they'll just hope that he's found some form. Are you going to do commentary on the league, Rugby League Sevens this month? Says Kevin, the Rugby League Sevens. I am not sure. I know we're doing the Rugby Union Sevens, and there's also some Pacific Nations Sevens taking place in November, which we are going to be covering on the channel. Where's the Super Pro, says Arta. We do only wear it for the occasional match rather than every single one, so we are just wearing the hoodie for this one. Must be hard for you, Fozzie, as you are much older than Adam Ashley Cooper and those Wallabies players, says Mus. And there should be tours between Namibia, Uruguay, Chile, etc. If Argentina send their B-side, it could be good. Says Rwanda. Yeah, I think what we've learned from the Rugby World Cup warm-up games in this World Cup competition is that when you put matchups together of the slightly lower ranked sides, they will give you decent performances. So I'd like to see them playing more rugby in between. Like, the fact that they got so many games this year was only because of the Rugby World Cup taking place. If it wasn't for that they probably wouldn't have had too many games, to be honest. Are you reaching great granddad age now? Not granddad, says Mus. And also we've got there, it's the Pacific Nations Rugby League Tournament, says Mus. And also it's probably a rumour about the pond. Thanks for clearing that up, Hamish, says Mornay. Can you remember the first match you commentated on your YouTube channel? I think it was probably a part of the Rugby Championship. In fact, it may have even been part of the Mitre 10 Cup. Fun fact. That's a bit of a throwback competition, isn't it? It's now known as the Bunnings EBC. If I send you a Bundesliga tie, would you wear it, says Kurt? Wait, like Bundesliga is in like the Bundesliga in Germany, the football competition, or is it a different one? There was more than 100, but very poor for a World Cup, says Trajan. And also halftime, New Zealand 37-5 for the Kiwis. And also most tattoos get done in prison, New Zealand dangerous place, says OB there. Yes, says Kurt. I mean, on a rugby live stream, people would be quite confused, I think, by me having a football tie on. In fact, I'd probably get more stick for it than anything, but yeah, would be interesting. We'll look through at New Zealand's recent fixtures, though. Their last win up against Italy coming last week, 96 points to 17. The win over the All Blacks, the win over the Italians. What was a very clinical performance. They are just showing Uruguay at the moment what they've been able to do throughout this Rugby World Cup. Their backline has been crisp at times, and I honestly believe that they will score 2 or more tries up against the All Blacks in this game. France versus New Zealand was how they started their Rugby World Cup campaign. They were defeated 27 points to 13. From that moment, it seemed like France almost had number 1 in the pool secured. Although the crazy thing is, if New Zealand win this game comfortably, France could end up going home if Italy beat them, which is an absolutely massive upset on the cards if that was to happen. But 71 points to 3, New Zealand winning over the Namibians as the other contest that did take place. Looking through at the way that the quarterfinals are currently shaping up. Now, I should mention the winner of Pool C currently, I believe, was almost confirmed as Wales, but not quite. So they are through to the quarterfinals. They are just not confirmed as the number one side. In that pool, England has secured themselves that spot, though. They'll be going head-to-head with the runner-up of Pool C, which at the moment seems like it will either be Fiji or Australia as the more likely, but also there is a stretch of a chance that it could be Wales that do go head-to-head with the English. Winner of Pool C, like I mentioned, could be Wales in that game, going up against the winner of Japan versus Argentina. Winner of Pool B, still not completely confirmed, will be either Ireland or South Africa by the main looks of it, going up against the Kiwis or maybe France, depending on the way that the pool sits. So there's still quite a bit to be determined, and I feel like that's quite an awesome way of looking at it going into the last round, because we're in that scenario of anything can still happen. The only side that are safe at the moment are England in terms of their positions completely locked in. The other side that is relatively safe at the moment is going to be the Welsh, because they know they're going through. It's just a question of, are they going through as first or are they going through as the second? We have got their rugby. Says Kurt, and Kiwi's Discord is there one. There is a very small group of us on the Discord. I'll be honest, I have no idea how Discord works, but on there I pretty much just post the links of when the live streams are going up. What do you think about what's happened to Ranfurly Shield, says Neil Garner? Yeah, it's not an ideal scenario, is it? It's a little bit similar to what we saw when the Crusaders won the Super Rugby Aotearoa competition and the trophy got smashed after about 2 hours of them having it. So, yeah, it's one of those ones that they just need to start thinking a little bit more about it and go, well, we're giving it to players who are probably going to be drinking. Do we need to have... I actually heard it mentioned having like an old school thing, how you have a player who's designated to hang on to the trophy, or like a member of the rugby club, how they hang on to it so that it stops it from getting damaged. Remember me, my name is Kyle. I used to be in the streams when you was at 5k subs. I certainly do remember you, Kyle. I think you were on a few of the early Xbox streams as well, weren't you? If I'm not wrong, and forgive me, Uruguay, but I reckon the All Blacks can beat you by 20 plus points with only 12 players on the field, says Mr. Lerm. And any ties surely be Manchester United, bro, says Callum. And also 2 p.m. Central Time in the US, outstanding. Can stay woke the entire game, says Kerman. And also we have got there, New Zealand is a dangerous place. Don't go there, no loss for New Zealand, says Mus. And I captained the Rugby Bundesliga team in 20 years ago. Yours it to wear, or use it, you wear it, says Kurt. And I've got tattoos on my neck and arms, and I'm far from dangerous, says Trajan. And there are no red cards today. The All Blacks, we need you guys at full force. When you kick out the Irish, they've been gloating too much, says Justin. You've made a very fair point, but not about the gloating Irish, the first part, about no red cards. It's not just for the All Blacks, though. It's about all of the sides in this round of the competition, because we always talk about injuries. But if you get yourself carded in the last round of the group stage, you are more than likely going to be missing the whole of the playoff games for your side. So that is where it is quite surprising when we see some big name players getting themselves a chance. All it would take for New Zealand, I'm just looking through at that side. You know, what if we ended up in the scenario of we see Richie Mo'unga? He shouldn't end up with a red card, but it's just hypothetically, like a big player like that ending up getting himself carded. Geordie Barrett, I think, would be more likely actually out of those two. And all of a sudden it completely changes what you have got around the corner that you are able to use. Is it possible to show us the match on your screen? Sadly, due to licensing, if we show any match footage or audio, we do get taken straight down off YouTube due to copyright, but we will be doing the commentary throughout the game, and also the highlights will be up on YouTube straight after the game on either the All Blacks YouTube channel or I believe there's the World Rugby YouTube channel that they have been putting it on. The most dangerous people wear suits and ties. Most people with tattoos I know are good people, says Justin. And also like and subscribe, guys, says Rodney. And also, yeah, Xbox streams was legendary, says Kyle. You were probably even there on the stream when my Xbox blew up. That was quite a throwback, wasn't it? And also, look at their nonsense, I didn't ban anyone, says Ian Foster. And also, it'll be a disaster if host France be knocked out at the group stage, says Mornay. It will certainly be an upset and a half. And I can tell you right now that the two sides that are sitting in Pool B would love to see it, because that would mean they go head-to-head with either New Zealand or Italy. More than likely, the team that faces Italy will be a lot more happy. We have got there, I saw a story about Razor being banned. Apparently Justin Marshall started that rumour, says Moose, although I think it's in like the rules or something like that for a new coach that you're not actually allowed to go and sit in the stands and watch the games, or there's some sort of weird thing like that apparently you're not allowed to have the new coach at the game as it causes controversy. I don't know what it is, but it could just be a rumour. Of course, when are your Rugby Challenge 4 videos, mate? Or where are your Rugby Challenge 4 videos, mate? Says Rushan. I didn't realise anyone still wanted to see Rugby Challenge 4, but we could have some coming out. Do you want to see them for the quarterfinals of the Rugby World Cup? Perhaps we could look at as a decent option. I pray today we don't see the first 100, although I think we might. Says Sino. And also we have got the hi from South Africa. Says Keenan, welcome in and great to see you, Hamish. Says Judy. I hope you guys are all excited for the weekend of rugby. Speaking of the weekend of rugby, though, there are still quite a few games that will be taking place over this weekend. We will put them up on the screen now so that you know exactly what time these contests are taking place. Of course, I've got to find them first. One moment. We'll click there. And they're hiding. Where are they? There they are. Boom. We'll click that one. And we will click this one too. And we should be all good. There we go. So these are the games that are taking place this weekend, ladies and gentlemen. New Zealand versus Uruguay, of course, kicking off in only 14 minutes' time. France versus Italy tomorrow morning. That game could be a playoff contest, depending on the result of this matchup. Wales versus Georgia. That will help confirm Wales' spot as number one in their group. England already have got number one. They're already confirmed to go head-to-head with the second place team in Pool C. They have got the Samoans, a Pacific Island side. They will be looking to close out their World Cup on a high, cause a massive upset. Up against the English, Ireland versus Scotland. That game has so many scenarios that could change the result of Pool B. There is a chance that those two sides go through. There is a chance that South Africa top the pool, depending on the result of this game. There's a chance that Ireland get knocked out of this Rugby World Cup after winning 3 games in a row. There are so many scenarios just around the corner. Japan versus Argentina. That will be the playoff game to determine who goes through as the second place in Pool D. Tonga versus Romania. That is a game that I assume will be fast-paced and both sides throwing absolutely everything into that. Fiji versus Portugal. The Fijians need at least 1 point in that game. So, of course, a win would secure them at least 4, but just the 1 point. So all they will need to make their way through to the quarterfinals. I've got there. France knocked out. Come on, get real. Not many would care outside France, says Bruce. And guys are being unrealistic about Uruguay winning by more than 20. Uruguay by just 2 points. I say, cool story, bro. And also, hi, Hamish, hi all. Says Di, welcome in. If you are doing well, and South Africa has closed shop until after Xmas. Busy with a spring clean nationally. Says Obi, is the red card theory the reason why Dane Coles isn't playing today? Maybe. He does enjoy a cheeky little yellow or red card every once in a while. Dane Coles, watching from Port Vila, Vanuatu. Go the All Blacks, says Emil there. So welcome in. What time is it in Vanuatu at the moment, Emil? Do let me know. We have got to fancy the mighty All Blacks. Hey, not laughing at the back there, extending their massive winning streak to 3, including wins against world beaters like Namibia, Italy, and Uruguay. Says Kieran, and also Ireland versus Scotland will be so intense. Yeah, it's going to be a Six Nations rematch, but I feel like it's got more of a feeling. And there we have got there, not wearing formal today, Hamish. I'm offended as a Uruguayan. Says Victor, it's nothing against Uruguay. It's also nothing against the All Blacks, because theoretically, if there was going to be a game to wear it for the All Blacks, it would be this one, because if they win it, they qualify. But since there's only the one game on today, we decided that the suit's going to be slightly distributed throughout the weekend, but then also it's going to be back for the quarterfinals. Anyone think Samoa has a chance of an upset? They play with passion and flair and keep disciplined with penalties and cards, says Nazi Williams. They have actually announced their team as well, so I should mention we will have the video for the Samoans after this YouTube live stream that we are doing. We will have that video of the England and Samoa confirmed lineups for that match. The way people keep talking about the 0.5% chance of Scotland beating Ireland, it's been talked about as if it's like 50-50 chance or something. My goodness, says Sino T. And what's the score? Says Germano. The game has not started just yet, but the two sides just about to make their way out onto the field. So we will show once again the starting lineups for the All Blacks. They have gone with quite a few changes compared to what we did see in their last contest. Ofa Tuangafasi at number 1, Cody Taylor as the 2 and Tyrell Lomax comes into the starting lineup after being off the bench last week. He is slotting in as the number 3, Sam Whitelock at 4, and Tupavai as the number 5. So a new locking combo for the All Blacks here once more. Shannon Brazil at number 6. Sam Cane comes in at number 7 after coming off the bench for last game up against Italy. And then Luke Jacobson at number 8. That is to rest Artie Savia, so he is fresh for the quarterfinals. Cam Roigard to start at 9 for the second time in this Rugby World Cup, with Richie Mo'unga this time as the fly half, which does mean it's a new combo for the ABs. I'm hoping does go smoothly. Geordie Barrett at 12 with Anton Leonard-Brown on the outside at 13, resting Rieko Ioane, Lester Fainanuku, Will Jordan, and Damien McKenzie. They're at number 15. There we go. Uruguay. A few changes made for them as well. Sanguinetti at number 1. Kessler at 2. And Arbello going to be slotting in as the tie prop. Dotte and Lendika at number 5. Ardo had a huge amount of minutes throughout this Rugby World Cup and will continue that trend throughout this game up against the ABs. Bianchi at number 7. And then Manuel Diana at number 8. It is Arata at 9 and Felipe Echeverri, the starting fly half. Villaseca, the captain, at 12, and Inciarte on his outside. Nicolas Freitas has already been able to score tries throughout this Rugby World Cup, and this game, I honestly believe, will be no different. I think he's crossing the try line here up against the All Blacks. Mieres at number 14 and Rodrigo Silva as the number 15 to close out the Uruguay side. The replay of the game is on Sky Sport at 9:30 a.m. today, says Kevin. And yes, Scotland versus Ireland is a bit worrying for many Springbok supporters, to say the least, says Bruce. And also, hello Hamish, are we ready to rumble Kiwi lads and rugby rockers? The game is on tomorrow, says Humano. That depends on what game you are talking about. If you're talking about France versus Italy, then it is on tomorrow. But this game, it is actually taking place in 8 minutes time. If you're looking at that clock, it is because it's in New Zealand time rather than anywhere else. And All Blacks are going to win by 75 points. No match for them, says Sonia. And a lot of the players going out there on the field for the ABs, they will be feeling like this game here is a trial for whether or not they can go through and play in the playoff games. The likes of Sam Cane, there's a lot of question marks around his fitness. Is he going to be 100%? Sam Whitelock, though, the player who makes his way out onto the field first, 150 caps for the All Blacks. A massive achievement, one that really gets achieved throughout the world of rugby. Uruguay, says Robert there. And I hope Sammy Cane has a good game. I fear for him a wee bit. Too many heavy head knocks. Come back to haunt usually, says Kerno Wick. And let's go Hamish, love the consistency. All Blacks will get 87, says Luan. And how's it, Hamish and Rugby World Cup peeps? Vusi here, just wanted to say the Springboks are waiting for you, the Kiwis, says Vusumuzi, and there as well. And that would be the earliest that they can meet theoretically. Could be the quarters. The latest that they can meet is the final of this Rugby World Cup. And with the recent news, will South Africa even be known as South Africa at that stage of the Rugby World Cup? It sounds like there's a little bit of something going on at the moment. We haven't really covered much of it because it's very tricky to have all the information. But yeah, currently the thing is the Springboks, I don't see them getting knocked out of the World Cup due to it. It's just going to be a name change and no South African national anthem. We have got there, Uruguay should just throw in the towel for this upcoming drubbing, says the human chapter. I mean, for the Uruguayan players, though, they'll look at this as an opportunity that they never thought, in some regards, that they would be able to have. Playing the All Blacks in a Rugby World Cup competition, it is a massive chance for these young players. And also, we have got there, always put faith in the Springboks, says Hermano. And also, we have got there, story out box, getting Teslas. Should they bring home the cup? May it be a rumour, but it's a good one. Tesla or no Tesla, bring our cup home, says Obi there. And always put faith in the Springboks, says Romano. And there as well. Currently the New Zealand national anthem is being sung. Do let me know your score predictions for this game, ladies and gentlemen, in this contest. I believe that the All Blacks will be ramping up a little bit. We have got there, what are you speaking about, Hamish? I live in South Africa, why won't we be known as South Africa? There has been a bit of a problem that has popped out recently for the Springboks. It's mainly due to the governing body of their rugby. I'll just quickly see if I've got the headline here. It pretty much says that due to the anti-doping regulations not being met by South Africa's governing body that South Africa, if they don't get the information through by about the 12th of October, they won't be allowed to be known as South Africa in the rugby world, and instead will have to be known as an outside party without the flag and without the national anthem due to not meeting those anti-doping regulations. That's not anything to do with any of the players using substances or anything like that. It's just the fact that they do have to, I guess, submit the information that other sides have already done, but the South Africans have not done that yet. But that is the end of the South African national anthem. There is a lot more that needs to be talked about for that regard, though. That's only like brushing the surface, but that is the news that has come out recently, that they've got until about the 12th or the 13th of October to pretty much confirm everything. And enjoy, folks. See you at halftime, says Kurt. South Africa could miss the quarterfinal if that should happen. That'll be a huge blow for our boys. Comes so far now, this anti-doping politics. What a shame. Stand strong, Bok, says Desmond. And they're only ABs by 100, says Alan, for the score prediction in this contest. But yeah, I honestly, I don't want to jinx it, of course, because I feel like if I say this, then they will do it. But I feel like the All Blacks, I feel like they'll be pushing it to get to around that 70 points in this game. But then saying that, now that I've said that, they're going to go and get themselves a lot more, of course. 56-12 says GT Kia ora, says Nori, welcome in. That's why we have a ANC support team, just in case ANC could claim the cup. Clever move, says Obi. If this B team could put 100 on Uruguay, then my faith is restored, says Stone Cold. But the Uruguay national anthem has just come to a close. The crowd are well and truly behind their side. My voice is already going, and we're only on the first game of the weekend. They won't be called South Africa. They will be called Zuid-Afrika or Manzanzi. Africa, I guess, will not retain it as South Africa, but when it is South Africa, says the human chapter. Yeah, it's an interesting scenario, isn't it? Because, like, it will be in the history books as, like, that's the thing. They might still just get it all confirmed, and then from there it's fine. But yeah, it could come down as a South African side not known as South Africa winning the Rugby World Cup, which would be pretty massive. Nothing can stop these mighty All Blacks now. Boom, Hamish, what's the score going to be like? Oh, I think Sam Cane was almost leading the Haka there for half a second. Of course, there's no Aaron Smith for this contest. Good South Africa could do with a new anthem, says Bruce. South Africa can't watch the game, and deadline is 13th of October, Hamish. Sports Ministry has assured everyone that the required info will be submitted to the WADA. Yeah, so I feel like there won't be any problems with it, but I hope that there aren't any. And also we have good eye, Hamish. Verona here. Can I wait for the broadcast? Says Verona, right. It's Cody Taylor, in fact, who will be leading the Haka for the All Blacks. Now Uruguay, a lot of stone faces there. Ardo looking like he wouldn't budge an inch. He's going to head with Shannon Frizzell. Don't worry, Hamish. South Africa will sort it out. The anthem won't disappear, says Morne Lagrange. And it's Kapo Panga, says Rodney. And 70 at halftime would be a wowie, says Mr. Lerm. Yeah, I hope that that's not the case. I hope that this game is a little bit closer. Does it go on the side? Does it then go on the side of the South Africa jersey when we win, says Jaden? That's the thing. It's a tricky one to know, but everything should be fine. I don't know whether that's just the optimism that's in me, but it should be completely fine. They should have it all sorted without any worries. We have got there D-Max Sam Cane, wait for the fireworks, says Ruth, and Uruguay win today, says Sebastian there. The All Blacks just finishing up the Haka, and then we are into this contest, ladies and gents. Do let me know who you think will be the first try scorer in this game as well for the All Blacks. They look fired up, though. I feel like earlier on I mentioned how this game is almost a trial for those playoff contests. You play well here, you get yourself a spot in the 23. If you don't perform here, perhaps you could end up missing out. Players like Sam Cane, a lot of weight on his shoulders here. Your prediction says, Michael, I think I went that the All Blacks would win this game about 72 to 14, I think was my prediction in the preview. Something along those lines. Complete silence in the stadium for the Haka, says Rodney. We have got there 70 points now. Not the number one team playing. Uruguay will lift due to the opposition. It's hard. They sound like chipmunks are the worst Haka performances. Says the Kiwi for life and 3 yellow and 1 red. says Grant there, and Haka, says Cananello. And also what is going on with South Africa. I heard we might have problems with our flag being banned. Yeah, there's some rumours that are swirling around at the moment, but everything should be all fine. I feel like it's just there's some paperwork and some technicalities that need to be sorted for the Springboks, and then they should just be able to reign as they normally would. I know Hamish is the best Scottish forwards, says Mark, and also we got the New Zealand 60, says Eddie. And also we have got there George come back. Missed you, says Roof. We did actually film a video 2 days ago, although that will be up on the entertainment channel on about Sunday. The All Blacks in front of a packed out stadium playing the Uruguayans. Finley doing the Haka always cracks me up with that fire here, says Bill, and Will Jordan to get the first try. And also blame all this problem on the current South African government. Will in turn will blame apartheid. Totally incompetent as usual, says Kurt. Now Uruguay, they will be the team kicking off, going from right to left. The referee for this match says Morne Lagrange. For this one, it is going to be Wayne Barnes. Charge of this match, you better don't relax, All Black, says Sebastian. Is that from Uruguay or from their quarterfinals? Sebastian, do let me know. Kind of sucks that our boys have to be punished because someone didn't do their job, says Irwin. And also Sam Whitelock's special. He's a legend forever. Great, says Ruth. Yeah, playing for 150 games. So Wayne Barnes, Matthew Carley and Jordan Way and Marius Jonker will be the TMO in charge. But Uruguay now kicking this one off for the final game for these two sides in their Rugby World Cup pool stages. For Uruguay, this will be the last time we see them take to the field in 2023. Coming off a win and wanting to cause the major upset. Tupavai taking it inside of the 22 for the All Blacks, and now Roygaard commits a couple more men to the breakdown, looking to put this one high off his left boot. Goes into touch about 40 metres out from the AB's line. Now it's going to be Uruguay's line out. We have got there, I will ref this match, says Desmond. And also we have got there our ball in hand. AB's no doubt kicking position away, says Kernovic, and New Zealand will slaughter them, says Pieter Lowe. Although I feel like they're going to score less points in this game, the All Blacks, than they did up against Italy. And also I feel like they'll almost score less than they did up against Namibia as well. I think that we're only going to see the ABs get to around that 60-point mark, but currently Uruguay in possession. It is Human Kessler hitting that ball up for Uruguay. Arata fires the ball off quickly to his left-hand side. Leonaka taken down 25 metres out from the line. Big shot coming in from Ofa Toangafasi. Now, I mentioned about it for the All Blacks here. The last thing that they want is any sort of red card scenario, or else that will mean that those players are missing the next stage of the competition. Up to 7 phases now. Villaseca, the captain, decides he wants to pick and go. Now going short side. Echeverri, quick hands being used. Out the back lines, it is Rodrigo Silva. At the back, ball is stripped by Tupavai. It's gone back and back forward off New Zealand's hands. So advantage to Uruguay now. Arata, inside ball, a little bit of a step from Mieres, but he slips. Arata slinging it off to the short side. Nice flat run from Uruguay. Might have been the knock on there. In fact, it was. And now New Zealand have got themselves the ball. Roygaard goes across to Moonga. Looks like the ABs want to run this one out. In fact, Fainanuku will kick it off his left boot. Great clearing kick from Fainanuku. Almost the 50-22, but now Echeverri cleans up inside of his own 22. Does get the ball into touch. Hi, Mr. H and all, says Andre, and come on, D-Mac, says Gareth there. And also, under 40, Uruguay come on and Fainanuku first try, says Stone Cold. In there as well. Now just show Menendez. Thrown in by Cody Taylor, straight to Frizzell. Flat ball, Moonga going in behind off to Leicester. Fainanuku now. Nice bit of work in the breakdown from Uruguay. Almost managed to get themselves the turnover. In fact, now I believe they have. In the breakdown, they've been aggressive. They've taken that one back. We have got there South Africa safe in the World Cup at the moment. Are we through to the quarters? All but. There's like the really small technicality that South Africa could end up missing out, and Ireland and Scotland will progress, but the chances of that happening are extremely slim. South Africa should be in the quarterfinals somewhere. Okay, there, Uruguay have 0 chance of advancing past the group stage, says Mr. Get It Done. That is correct. Due to the head-to-head, that they've had up against Italy and France, if they were the two sides in the top two, that is why they have no chance of making it out of the group stage. And the points differential as well, if it came to that, would also be too low. Knock on from Richie Mo'unga. Now Uruguay end up with the ball once more. It will go back for the scrum though. And All Blacks by a steiny or two, respect to Uruguay. Says Jody. Any hope of Uruguay beating the AB, says Dennis? I mean, from how they started in the first 4 minutes, they've looked like they are up for the task. We have Get There Without a Pickle Couch Stuffed Doubt, says Obi. And our Group D will be decided on Saturday. We wait for Scotland Ireland game, says Desmond. And we will, of course, be covering that one on the channel alongside the rest of the Rugby World Cup. After this game, we've only got 15 more matches remaining, ladies and gentlemen. Who's your star try scorer for New Zealand tonight? I believe the obvious answer is someone like a Will Jordan because he's out on the wing. Same with Whainā Nuku, but I think it's actually going to be someone else. Oh, Lomax injured here. Looks like the knee, although he is getting back up. I think he's just getting a little bit more strapping on it. He did have that brutal cut from Damien Willem's sprig in that Rugby World Cup warm-up game, which left him getting a whole heap of stitches across that whole kneecap. But I would say leading try scorer for this game might be someone we don't expect. So perhaps I want to say Anton Leonard-Brown or someone like that who we don't think will get a lot of tries, but just has a chance that the ball ends up with him at the right time throughout this contest. Look at that, Uruguay may sneak a try, but the AB's by 50, says Brian. And Robert has said, nah. And how about those Black Cats and their 9-wicket win against England earlier? Too much, says Glenn Woods. Yeah, very good performance. Ravindra as well as Devon Conway, massive partnership between them. Will Young, he won't be happy with how he went, of course, but hopefully Kiwis can continue that momentum. Scrum, this will be the first of the game. They're talking about the amount of bandaging that they have just put on Tyrell Lomax's knee. Talking about maybe that cut reopening up, which is the last thing you want this early on in a fixture. Pack weights, New Zealand have about a 70 kg advantage in this matchup. How many points will New Zealand win? I honestly feel like it will be by less than 60. And maybe even less than 50 in this case. Should I run to the bookies fast and back them lads to score first? Uruguay, you never know, says Dennis. What is it with Romania and zero, says Irwin. They are just playing a lot of tough opposition. We've got to remember in that group, like they have 3 of the top 5 sides around the world in their pool when they were announced, or compared to when they were announced. So it's pretty tricky to do well against those sides. But now going short side here for Uruguay. It's going to be the dangerous Nicolas Freitas, man, who I believe will be able to cross the try line throughout this game. Good evening, all my fellow South Africans. Enjoy the game, says Desmond. How about the banter between the South African and New Zealand coaches, says O'Kurt. See, I think that's a good way of putting it. It's like, it's just them joking with each other. People have taken some of the comments very, very seriously, but at the end of the day, it's all mind games from both coaches, and it's just, I guess, a little cheeky jab every once in a while. They are used to it when the two sides go head-to-head. Now off the back, Manuel Diana. All Blacks, though, Luke Jacobson over the ball and gets the turnover for a side. I was about to say penalty, but the ball came out clean. Now Mo'unga passing across here to Anton Leonard-Brown. Man on the outside is Damian McKenzie to Whainā Nuku. Quite a few of the players did represent their sides in the Super Rugby Pacific final actually taken part in this contest. My question is, how long does Finley Christie last before he's replaced? These Glenn Woods. Nice run from Will Jordan. We'll come back to that in a short moment. Will Jordan just running sideways at the moment, but great low tackle made by Nicolas Freitas. That should be Uruguay's penalty as well. He was right on the ball. Does miss out. Now Geordie Barrett cross to Tupavai. 10 metres from the line of the All Blacks now with their first attacking chance of the game. They'll go back though. Old neck roll from Luke Jacobson. So the penalty does go the way of Uruguay. But yeah, Finley Christie, I think when he should have been taken out of the side was before this World Cup team was announced. Feel like having Brad Weber as that third option would have been a good play from the ABs. We shouldn't take the banter too seriously. We do it with each other, says Brian. And go my homeland, says Cindy. And also New Zealand will win, says Carlos. And South Africa seems more confident than any other team at the moment, says Irwin. Oh, there's a few sides at the moment that are showing a lot of confidence. But it's one of those ones that the playoffs, like no side will want to be too overconfident heading into them, because at the end of the day, at the playoff stage, as soon as you lose a game, you're gone. That is the big thing. So every side, yes, they can have confidence going into it, but it's about them putting that result together so that you are able to move on. We have good there. Forwards are standing off. Discipline, not up to it. Fozzie team talk. Says generative. Now nicely cleaned up by Uruguay inside of their 22. Going to the short side once more. Did have Freitas on his outside, but I believe it was Diana who had to carry himself. Now Germain Kresler. All available at the back for Uruguay. 7 minutes into this contest, still 7-0. That's not a neck roll, says Rodney. I'm just relaying the message. I didn't actually see what they were looking at. In that case, there should be Minos. World Cup, says Claudio. Lukanyuama's back, so I'm feeling fine. Also Pollard too. It's no stress for me, says Irwin. Although the Lukanyuam back scenario is actually tricky now for South Africa, because they need to make sure that they don't rush him back in if he isn't 100% match fit, because or else then that could actually be something that could cost them. Nice turnover from Sam Whitelock. Now the All Blacks have taken the ball back on the halfway line. Moonga runs onto it. They have got major numbers on this left-hand side. Barrett, short ball to Leonard Brown, passes out wide to Lester Fainanuku. Just short of the try line. 5 metres out. Trying to get that pass away with Sam Kane. Not able to though. Now Roygaard snipes, goes himself. Scores the try there for the All Blacks on the short side, and New Zealand get themselves the early lead up against Uruguay. All right, we all go like that. All Blacks try scorers, and we'll add a name that we're going to have to add quite often by the looks of it. Cam Roygaard, once again, the youngster. Hang on, we're checking upstairs for something. Checking the grounding for Cam Roygaard. Is he happy or is he not happy? He doesn't look like he's overly enthralled, Cam Roygaard, although from what we've seen of him throughout the week, that's just how he is. He's just very chilled out. I can't tell if he's scored it or not. From his reaction, he doesn't look happy. But then also, if he had scored it, we wouldn't know. Right, round the side here. Does it get slapped out? No, he's lost that one. So that's going to be no try for Cam Roygaard. We'll take that one back. We have got there, Cam Roygaard says Group 35, and I have a funny feeling that New Zealand or England, 20 years later, nice storyline. These two might win the cup, says the human chapter. And also try time, says Sam Wilson, and morning Amish Kia Kaha, says they're welcome in. But yeah, Roygaard losing that ball. I think they've got to check for offside though against Uruguay. There is clear separation. So it's going to be no try. And the All Blacks will remain on 0. Does New Zealand feeling any confident playing against the Irish? Says Mornay Lagrange. I mean, of course, they've got a lot to prove from the last time that the two sides did go head-to-head. But I feel like that's the thing. All of the sides that make their way through to the quarterfinals will, in their own mind, feel that they can win the Rugby World Cup. Because if they didn't feel like that, they probably wouldn't have made it out of the group stages. So every side will feel like out of the top 8, they are the side that will go through. But it will be interesting. We have a biased scorekeeper, says Robert Wood. Biased scorekeeper. As in like the scoreboard or myself? It's going to be kicked deep now by Ichiveri. Now Lester Fainanuku cleans up about 25 metres out from the line. That was a really ugly fall. I think that was Lechada, who did have the awkward landing. We don't need a flag. Be a banana, change the Springbok to a leopard, says Goldberg, and there's a try, says Alice Dende. And after 10 minutes, or 0 after 10 minutes, lol, says Albert. Well, we have said that Uruguay, they are a lot stronger side than some people give them credit for. And now, it's hit Cody Taylor in the face. In fact, it's got a little bit of a hand involved. And now, it's going to be Uruguay retreating inside of their own 22. Ichiveri takes the contact. We have got their scoreboard aim, says Mono Lagrange. And bad luck for the All Blacks, says Michael. The ball is out. Now Errata. We're rolling this ball back forwards a half asleep, says Generative Midi. And Cam needs to cool it. But at try time, Mariko used to fluff it when he first featured for the ABs. There's Kerno Wick. Rata once again rolling it back. Uruguay still inside of their own 22. I remember New Zealand make it to the quarterfinals by losing to France, being third, 3 second-tier teams. They'll stumble to the quarters and really don't deserve to be there, says Kieran. But that's the group that they're in. That's the thing. They can't change who they are in a grouping with. It's just the World Cup draw. So they've done what they've needed to. It's like saying for the All Blacks, in this case, to be like, oh, we don't want to play in the quarterfinals because we feel we haven't earned it because there weren't hard enough teams in the opposition. It's a crazy statement because at the end of the day, they're only beating the sides that have been put in front of them with the exception of France. Now, sitting 25 metres out from the line, Damian McKenzie, that's rough from Tuanga Fuss. He doesn't find their hands there. Whereas Adi Savia, they are resting him for this game, so he is fresh for those quarterfinals. We have got there every time we should have a waka, or every team should have a waka. I assume that's a haka. Maybe if the score is good in the Springboks quarterfinals, then Arnie says Desmond. Now, advantage, knock on again from the All Blacks. Ardo here, taking contact with Roygaard. They should put all the second-tier nations in one pool, says Dimitri, although the only problem with that, when you think about it, is if they then have to play teams who are in the top for the quarterfinals, you're going to end up with like really lopsided quarterfinal fixtures rather than one-sided group stages. Nice run down the wing here for Mieres. Space opening up, ball on the inside for Uruguay. Missed tackle, but it's a knock-on inside of the 22. Now the All Blacks have to try and counter Damian McKenzie from open play. Flick around the back pass to Cody Taylor. Now Roygaard looking to kick it in behind. It's charged down. Uruguay numbers on this left-hand side. There is a player down and back plays well. Arto down the wing. Leonard Brown can't catch him. And Uruguay, I believe, have just scored the first try in this matchup. 12 minutes in. Uruguay have come to play. The question mark, of course, is whether or not his foot is on the line. And that is the try line, or sorry, the touch line we are talking about. And their try says Jimmy O'Brien. And also we have got their really beautiful rugby, says Michael. Well, Roygar, come on, bro, wake up, says Jobo. And somebody do something exciting, please. Kiwi lads rock big time. Hamish is a super commentary king, says Ruth. Oh, his foot's on the line. It's going to be no try, ladies and gentlemen, but massive chance for Los Teros there. Now we will be going back. The line moved, saw it. Says Obi, and no try, says Jimmy O'Brien after saying try about a minute ago. That's a great bit of pace shown there, though, by Mieres. Down the wing, New Zealand have taken the line out quickly. Nothing like a bite from an underdog. Says Robin of this World Cup has been something different. Says Sean. Time to move Anton to hooker. Like his brother. Says Ian. Isn't his brother a prop rather than a hooker? Daniel Leonard Brown? He's been prop for the Highlanders, isn't he? Can you believe this? Foster couldn't coach an under-12 team. Says Glenn Woods. And good morning, Hamish. How are you? Must score for the All Blacks is 75 points to the 8 of Uruguay. And also what's going on, says Ali Wood. We're seeing Uruguay play extremely well so far in New Zealand, not being clinical at all. They have had quite a few drop balls stolen that time. And line out time for the ABs. Cody Taylor goes across to Will Jordan, who does put the boot in behind. Finds a bit of open space, and it does roll into touch. You guys are all right, I agree. Says, cool story, bro. It was a great bit of play. Whatever happens, says Brian. And also we have got there, looks like I ain't going to make a few bob at this game. Going to bed, this day sucks. Says Dennis. Currently 5-5 in disallowed tries and missed kicks. Says Venster. A line out again for Jermaine Kessler. New Zealand just falling around. They will kick it up a gear, says David. Almost stolen again by Sam Whitelock, but it does bounce back out onto the side of Uruguay, who now go with the up and under from Echeverri, putting up the bomb. McKenzie runs onto it nicely. He gets tackled hard by, it was Diana. Now Whainānuku around the side of the breakdown on the halfway line currently for New Zealand. McKenzie looking for the kick in behind. It's been partially charged. And now Uruguay end up with the ball once more. Little chip and chase there. Doesn't get to it. Sits up now for Will Jordan. They did just show a stat. 6 handling errors from the All Blacks throughout this first 14 minutes of the contest. Whereas Bowden Barrett, he is going to be coming off the bench And number 22 penalty this time goes the way of the ABs. Not rolling away against Manuel Lendakar, Virginia. The force is with Uruguay. Mateus is not a way to create jobs. Or is it not a way to create jobs, says Dimitri. And also how many of the underdogs teams scored first in their matches against great teams. Feels like a few of them. Yeah, there's been quite a few underdog first tries that have been scored. Which, I mean, just adds that little bit more excitement for some of the games. Because when you look at it and you look at the likes of Romania scoring first up against the Irish, that is a moment. That is a moment that Romania, I just accidentally muted because I was about to sneeze, which I am going to, so I am going to quickly mute. We are good. But yeah, that's something that Romania will remember for a long time. Chile scoring the first try up against Japan. That is something that will be special to them. Definitely in their first ever Rugby World Cup. We look all full. Jacobson dreadful. Says Reyes. What happens if the ABs lose tonight? Then, depending on how some of the other results go, the All Blacks may end up missing out on the quarterfinals. And we'll have us for breakfast, says Reyes. If Brian Abana never retired, we're going to fly through this World Cup. Nice run there from Luke Jacobson. Offloads it away to Sam Cane, his Chiefs teammate. Arata. That was almost a neck roll on him as well by Richie Mo'unga. They've got to be careful in the breakdown at the moment, the All Blacks. Sam Cane after Jacobson once more. Now Kane plays halfback. Geordie Barrett. One more to McKenzie, who will run it in, and that will be now the first try of the match for the All Blacks. It is Damian McKenzie, or is it? They want to check the breakdown. The neck roll that I mentioned of Richie Mo'unga is now going to be checked. This might be no try, ladies and gents. We have got there. Kiwis, I'm asking, how do you guys get so many quality players in New Zealand, says Dimitri. I think it's just the fact that from schoolboy rugby, here we go. Richie Mo'unga round the head of Arata. And that, I believe, is going to be called as a neck roll, which is then no try, ladies and gentlemen. The All Blacks, the discipline, called as no try once more. We have got there FFS. And not again, a kia ora, brother, from another mother. A long time no here. Let's go to the All Blacks, says Kylie. Welcome in. And our man Ref's going to be a really fudge this game up. Well, the All Blacks are, as you've said, fudging it up themselves. Stop neck rolling in the breakdown, Kiwis, is the best way of putting it. Because if they keep on doing that, anytime they get the chance, they are going to end up in trouble. The clown ref checking everything. That one was clear and obvious, though, for the neck roll. He called it from the get-go that Richie Mo'unga went too high. And because of it, it means that it is going to be the penalty to Uruguay. We have got their next minute, no try again, says Mr. Loom. And also we have got their boom, start the barbecue, please. Biltong and Borrowers with extra sauce. And 3 tries disallowed so far. Says that Sam Wilson, neck roll again. Yeah, it was dumb from Richie Mo'unga in that breakdown. Ends up giving away the penalty. Nicely claimed this time by Uruguay. Now going off to the right-hand side, Ardzo. Tackled by Luke Jacobson. Nothing, All Blacks won't lose, says Hayden. And what's the name of that team? There's fans who blame the ref every time they lose, says the Black Samoan. I know that the ref has already been criticised in this game, so I'm hoping I don't have to say it's the ABs, but could be. Now Tupavai, 20 metres out the line. Roigard, stepping throughs. Shannon Brazil right. In the breakdowns, they have to be careful. 10 metres out for the line. Roigard back across to Richie Mo'unga. Quick hands from Fletcher Null, who was already out there due to the injury of Tyrell Lomax. Ducking under that challenge was Damian McKenzie. Ball pops out the side. Roigard picks it up. Snipes his way through. 2 big fans couldn't quite find the link up that he was after. Arata on the ball, although advantage and the penalty goes the way of New Zealand. Due to player not rolling away that time, it was against Thomas Inciarte. We have got there, the way I understand it is if Ireland versus Scotland will determine the rest of the World Cup. Says Irwin, and what happens if the ABs lose? Well, then they would have lost, says JP. And also Marius says Farid. And Box aren't even playing, and you guys are bringing them up, says Justin, who led the Haka. It was Sam came for a start, and then they went on to Cody Taylor, leading the Rugby World Cup Haka for the last time of the group stages. All Blacks discipline is coming back to haunt them again, says Mornay. I love this guy eating a bowl of beans and rice while listening to this man commentate. Good stuff, says Justin. Well, we appreciate you being here, mate. Hopefully your beans and rice are decent. We have got there, it's not the All Blacks, but the Springboks, says the Black Samoan. I'm sure if they check any tries, there's probably something that the ref can call no try for, says David Vickers. But yeah, so far, like the no tries that we've had is for a clear knock on, a clear foot and touch, and then the neck roll, which I thought was pretty conclusive as well. So I don't think the ref has been pedantic in this game as of yet, if that makes sense. I love your your commentary. You New Zealand people don't pronounce, you just make noises, says Johan Jacobs. Nice. Now 19 minutes in, still 0-0 between these two sides. World Rugby is watching one team, Bocky and Two Horns, that trots about the great Karoo and great pronunciation of their names. Well done, says Claudio. And also Savia not playing, says him. He is not. He is resting for this contest. And also 0-0 after 20 minutes was 51 today, says Jimbo. Is that a record for no tries for New Zealand, says Polly Bear? I mean, I'm not sure about the longest time they haven't scored throughout this Rugby World Cup, because I can't remember what time they scored their first try up against France, but it's certainly something they aren't used to. They've got the advantage now. McKenzie stepping through this time, does get the grounding, and New Zealand now score themselves the try in the 19th minute. Damian McKenzie does walk it in. We'll go like this and like this. So you mentioned about how it was 50-1 after 20 minutes. Imagine if you had that bet on and they scored in the 19th minute and 50th second. It would mean that you would end up not getting paid out. And that goes go to the TMO, says Mountie, and love the Kiwi accent, says Michael. And also we have there Uruguay, says Marius. And there, and Viva Chile, Uruguay eats the pigeons out of the public fountain, says Hayden. Interesting. Yes, they're just being strategic, aren't they? Cheap feed. We got their third time lucky, says Trajan. And no try, he wasn't smiling. Says it was David Vickers. Can you give us some stats? What stats do you want to know, Peter? At the moment, it was neither side had scored, but now Damian McKenzie gets himself the first try. New Zealand have had 7 handling errors throughout the first 20 minutes of this game, and also given away about 3 or 4 penalties along the way. Now, your time seems to be frozen 13 minutes, mate. Says Binge Watch. I think it's just updated itself, if I'm not wrong. I only bet when the box play because I know what my boys can do, says Irvin, but that kick has gone over from Richie Mo'unga. Now after 21 minutes, it is going to be sitting at 7 points to 0. Uruguay 59, New Zealand 7, says Ian. And also Chiefs. And we're the game, says Johnny. The game is on World Rugby. They have got a website, the Rugby World Cup one, and then you can find out where you can watch depending on where you are in the world. Your prediction, New Zealand versus Ireland, says JM. I think it will be a tough fixture. And to be honest, like, it depends what New Zealand side they put out there on the field, because currently the last 2 games they've made 9 changes for both of these lineups. So if they go with what they feel is best, I feel like it could be a tightly contested fixture. Ireland have shown that they've got clinical try scoring throughout this Rugby World Cup, and I feel like it will be a good test for both of the sides. New Zealand don't have to go hard in this game, says AK12. There goes my few Bob. Wait, maybe he might find something wrong with it, please, ref, says Dennis. And also don't underestimate Uruguay, says Gita. Exactly right. I feel like Uruguay, they are a tough side. They have shown that throughout this Rugby World Cup. What happened to Tyrell Lomax? I believe the cut on his knee got reopened, the one that he had stitches for and everything along those lines. So he did have to go off the field. I assume it was just that cut injury anyway, rather than the actual knee injury. Prediction 17 points to 14 to the ABs. Currently a rata on the halfway line for Uruguay. Now the offload coming from Nicholas Freitas. It's a knock on there from Hesler, and it goes back into the side of the ABs inside of their own half. Now Mo'unga slings it across to Damian McKenzie. Looking for the kick in behind. 50-22 is on the cards if it bounces favourably, but it sits up now for, knock on, 10 metres out from the line there from Echeverri. And now New Zealand have got themselves another scrum feed. Google says 7-0, why yours 0-all? Says Alice Denny, I would say that you are watching this live stream delayed, because it has had 7-0 for the past about 4 or 5 minutes. We have got there... look, Uruguay probably won't win this one, but let's give them credit. They played hard, says Peter Lowe. And also we have got there, Sasa didn't this month so he don't internet connection. Exactly right. On Super I said All Blacks win with 50, but clearly wrong, says Dean. And also we have there, one man can't save the Wallaby, says AK12. Current forwards for the Uruguayans, they have not had to make any changes to their lineup, whereas for the All Blacks, they did have to take Tyrell Lomax off, and that was Fletcher Null, who has made his way onto the field. Now Roigard feed the ball in for the scrum. New Zealand going with quite a split in terms of who's on what side of the scrums. No advantage. Now comes for the ABs. Flat run from Geordie Barrett. Offloads out the back. Mo'unga scores. And now the Kiwis at the moment. It seems to be a battle between McKenzie and Mo'unga. They both want that number 10 jersey. But Mo'unga answers straight back with a try of his own in the 24th minute. There we go. And AB's, or Hamish, what AB's team would you like to see versus Ireland, says M. Well, I feel like the game up against, well, that's the thing. They're still, I feel like they're almost getting there with their selection from the last game I'm talking. This game was a bit of a mixed bag, but the last game they're getting closer. We'll probably have a video coming out of us predicting what the All Blacks would go with in their finals playoff games. Why Google says 7-0, yours 0-all. Says Alice Dende. Once again, you have to click the live button, and then you'll be at around the same point as the rest of us, as it now says 12. South Africa should have hosted this World Cup. We have the stadiums from the Soccer World Cup, such a pity, says Edward. And also always the same on try, or one try, then the floodgates open, says Cool Story Bro. Oh. Okay, the try will stand. Now Richie Mo'unga to line up this kick. About 30 metres out on the angle. Was asked at the start of this game who would be the man who had that kicking tee, and it is Mo'unga, who is now sitting 2 from 2. And the All Blacks are sitting with a 14 points to 0 lead now after around that 25 minutes. But it was a nice set play. Geordie Barrett offloading it back to Richie Mo'unga. Two men did have themselves a spot on the team last week. In fact, I believe they're almost the only two backs who kept themselves their spots from the last game up against Italy. South Africa hosts the World Cup when the power go out, says Mus. And also we have the I'm surprised Barnes didn't check it, says Joe Bow. And France only bet Uruguay by 27 points to 12, says Trajan. Is your scoreboard behind, says Alice Dini? No, you are. I think you're delayed compared to our one, because you still 0-all, which is it's not. And that's check. If you ask me, I ain't coming back from that, says Hayden. And forget Google, use Bing only. It only lies to you sometimes, says Cool Story Bro, but it's kicked up high from New Zealand just outside of their 22. Nicely taken by Roigard, but he was in front. So it is now going to be, wait, now he's confused Roigard, because I don't believe he's offside. Okay, one's run straight forward, so that's against Ofa Tuangafasi there for offside. Roigard was obviously confused, as he was the man who kicked it. And also the return of Sam Cane hasn't exactly inspired them. And Roigard struggling, says Joe Bow. And also he kicked 10 times better than Marnie Libok from the Springboks, says Tian. And the All Blacks are quality, much better than number 4 in the world. Should be kept number 2, says Michael. And now Jimen Kisler. Throw this one for Uruguay. They are 5 metres out from the line. And come New Zealand, you need that bonus point, says Valerie. A little ahead of you in the USA. Must be closer to France than New Zealand, says Kerman. Now 5 metres out. New Zealand deciding against contesting. Kesler slightly drifting backwards here. And Arata. He's been told to use it. Looks like he is going to be going to the left-hand side with the sling and pass off the Valaseca, the captain. Whainanuka trying to get into there. Doesn't end up getting it right, though, in through the side. And Whainanuku penalised there once more. All Blacks would wear reflectors. Spectators will hold candles, says Goldberg. Offer the penalty machine. And also All Blacks will get the bonus point easily, says Michael. And now, going to be Ichiveri kicking this one for the touchline, going for the corner rather than the 3 points. Whitelock is a legend, a GOAT, says Dimitri, and also Time Sam Kane called it a day, says Peter Wild. And it was going to be, I guess, the main talking point of the 4-pack for the ABs was what can Sam Kane do in the starting lineup? Because at the moment it's probably between him and Dalton Papali. The All Blacks now having to defend on the short side. Ardo throws it straight into touch though. Okay, Villaseca saying it came off the All Blacks. It's going to be the All Blacks lineup. Oh, did it hit Jacobson's arm here? Okay, first knock on from Luke Jacobson. Then by the Uruguayan, so it is a scrum feed now for Uruguay. If we play Ireland, someone should just clothesline Sexton, take it old school, take him out, says Hayden. And also we've got the Uruguay going to win the World Cup, says Jinx. And also Uruguay says Marius in there as well. Now scrum feed for Uruguay, who do sit only the 14-0 down at the moment in this contest, which is a massive plus for them in this game. A lot of people predicting the All Blacks to be in the 30s or 40s by the time it reached half-time. Now Uruguay, another chance for them to cross the try line. I'm looking out for Nicolas Freitas in this scenario. Might have a decent chance here. Go the All Blacks, says Sally. That's going to be a scrum reset again. I think it was Fletcher Null. I think it's actually the turf that Wayne Barnes was talking about there. And it's not too flash. I wish there's much talk about who will be winning the world champs. What you're thinking about New Zealand against all odds, says Peter. I mean, it would be impressive if New Zealand could win themselves the World Cup based off the current up and down form that we've seen. But I feel like once you get to those quarterfinals, anyone's got a chance. You just need 3 good games in a row and you are making your way through as the champions. So, yeah, any side in the top 8 will back themselves to go on and get the win. Nice to hear a good Kiwi voice here in Canada, says Steve Nixon. Now, missed set play there from Uruguay. Knock on from New Zealand first, though, so it is once again going to be the Uruguay scrum feed. Genuine question. One moment, where'd it go? Why do you use the flashboard or flash scoreboard instead of having a scoreboard on the rolling bar where the scores are listed? Says Vincent. Normally, if we have it down there, some people, depending on the device they're on, can't actually read what it has as the score. So that's why we use it to our side, just so that it's big and bold so everyone can see it. And also, since it updates by itself, it is always a positive rather than us trying to update it alongside the commentary. Box going to play the final against Ireland, says Tian. Did South Africa qualify for the Cricket World Cup? I believe so. I think they've got a game coming up in the next couple of days, don't they? If I'm not wrong. Are there any injuries so far in the match? So we have seen Tyrell Lomax go off the field. I believe that isn't so much as an injury, but more of a cut reopening up. But hopefully nothing too serious for Lomax. And also we have got there, I don't see any other teams fans complaining about their team. Just sport and faith. Aren't you proud to be a Kiwi anymore? Bring back Buck. You Karen, says David. I mean, I know that there's still teams that are getting criticised around the world. All we've got to look at is that South Africa Mani Libok Pollard scenario. I think it's just depending on where you look, depends on what you see in terms of the critique. We have got this South Africa versus Sri Lanka this weekend, says John. In New Zealand, you have this, says Valerie, but another mistake from Uruguay on attack. You think South Africa is going to play Ireland for the World Cup? I believe that could be a very likely final that we do see for this Rugby World Cup competition. Given the hiding ABs, says David. Now it's going to be not quite stolen. It's a knock-on from the All Blacks there. Wayne Barnes decides that he wants to say play on. Now Moonga going back across to Geordie Barrett. One more to McKenzie. Goes for the kicker behind, looking for the 50-22. And it does just stay in the field of play. What an offload that is from McKenzie. And Will Jordan, he will score the try for the All Blacks. I think the thing is they've already gone upstairs for quite a few and people have been annoyed about it. I think that was a knock-on from Sam Whitelock at line-out time, but the try will stand. Will Jordan scores his 3rd of the Rugby World Cup competition now It's kicked him behind from Mackenzie. Wait up. Foot was on the touchline. They've gone back for a no try anyway. In this case, by the sounds of it, of Marius Jonker. Oh, no, he might have almost. No, they're going to say that's all right. So the try will stand. And it's going to be Richie Mo'unga converting, making it 21 points to 0 now in favour of New Zealand. We have got there WGFC's Jam Gamer, and that was class. I was critical of Damien's play. That was ridiculous. Says Ali. Just showing Kenzie's boot right next to the touchline. And that was clean, says Joe Bowen. What a great try from the ABs. And also, crikey, there's no combinations in this ABs team, says Glenn Woods. And also, no try, says Crumpus. Very close, says Sam Wilson. They did look, says Wayne Barnes, and it will stand as a try for the All Blacks. As an Irishman, I hope D-Mac is not playing against us. He's trouble, says him. And if Italy beats France, it will be the greatest upset ever, says Michael. Yeah, and it would mean that Italy make their way through to the next stage of the Rugby World Cup, which would be absolutely massive for them. Wait, try or no try? I'm confused now. Only listening in. So it did end up remaining as a try in that case. The All Blacks now bringing up their third, and it was Will Jordan. It was able to score it now. Penalty goes the way of Uruguay. 42 metres out from the All Blacks try line. Like a dad joke competition. Says it was there from Lightbringer. And I was aware of their combinations are a worry for the All Blacks, says Sai. I don't know who is worse, the ABs or Barney, says Colin. That kick has not found touch from Uruguay. And now they will go back to where it was kicked from. That is about 42 metres out. Echeverri apologises to his team. Will this be a controversy later, says Brian? Probably not in this game. Mainly because if the All Blacks do get themselves a few more tries, then they will still, like people would say, even if there were controversies in the game, they still won comfortably. What would constitute a success from the game? No cards or injuries, says Generative. I'd say so. Like for the All Blacks, if they can find a couple players that they now know if they're in form or not, that is extremely close to the touchline for Damian McKenzie's foot. They're just showing the replay again. Could have easily gone either way. Good Lord, wake up, AB, says Dallin. But yeah, if they can get out of this game without losing any critical players to their quarterfinals lineup, I think the All Blacks will be relatively happy. That's going to be another penalty advantage in favour of the All Blacks. Now Richie Mo'unga, selling the dummy, wanting to go himself, finds the offload away to Sam Cane now. Dragged down by the big man, Inacio Dotti. Now Barrett slinging past, great hands from Will Jordan to pick it up. Goes for the chipper behind, chasing after it, Will Jordan, but it's picked up by Aratu, who had no choice but to force it inside of his in-goal area. From what country is the ref? He is English, Wayne Barnes. TMO, South African. Who is the one who had the bigger decision to make in that one? So yeah, Marius Jonker of South Africa, the TMO ref for this contest. Crushed New Zealand's offloads, and you crushed New Zealand, says Jimmy O'Brien. They should have been shown. Oh, they keep on showing he is not out. The problem was the knock-on before that, says Kurt. Yeah, I'm of the same boat. We have got there France 27 to 12, Italy 38-17, Uruguay 36-26, New Zealand 21-0. Says Mr. Kiwi for life. Flying Fijians versus All Blacks for the final. Says Lamanu. Tell you what, that would be a hard-hitting affair between the sides, wouldn't it? And also Jordan and McKenzie back to awesome, says Jimbo. Well, that's the thing. If Damian McKenzie has a solid game at number 15 here, does that mean that Beauden Barrett will find himself coming off the bench in the future game? Okay, there. What's your view of England? No one talking about them or Wales. If they got any chances, Dennis, they certainly do. They've made their way through to the quarterfinals already. They are two sides that are confirmed. The only two throughout this Rugby World Cup. England, they've been looking decent. Oh, Roygaard snipes. Gets himself the try this time for the All Blacks. He had to disallow one earlier, but off the back of the scrum, decides to go for it. And it does pay off with a try in the 38th. In the 38th minute, Roygaard scores his third try now of the Rugby World Cup, and that is now the bonus point for New Zealand in this contest. We have got there, but they can't win Bok, says Wasima. And also, that'll be a good final for New Zealand and Fiji. Thanks for coming, says Hayden. How much time is left? So there's 2 minutes remaining in this first half. And then, of course, the second half just around the corner. Sam Wilson has put bonus point. Nicely done by Roiga. Come on, New Zealand. Says it was kind of cun. Hopefully I've said that correctly. And AB scoring of the first phase. This should get rough, says Ali Wood. Gliding over the try for Cam Roigard, or over the try line, I should say. Whereas Aaron Smith, he has been rested so that he is fresh for the quarterfinals games. As the All Blacks, they make it past the quarters. Of course, you've got the semis the next week, the final the next week after that. So they want to make sure that they're leaving some of the players out that will be heavily relied upon. That's missed from Richie Mo'unga. So that will remain now at 26 points to nil. We have got there, how did you get the bonus point? Says Tinkerers, so for 4 or more tries, you get yourself a bonus point in this Rugby World Cup competition. So the All Blacks, they have scored themselves their 4th there, the 4, Mackenzie, Mo'unga, Jordan and Roigard. So they get at least 1 point from this contest now. Well, as I said, at 14-0, there was no return, says Hayden. And Bodie kick it Barrett out, D-Mac in, says Jobo. Nicely. Oh no, he slapped it back to Bavai, but it's gone backwards, so it will be play on. Sam Kane cleans that up. Now 15 seconds remaining. In the first half, what happened to Lomax again, please, says Joseph. So I believe they were heavily strapping his knee, and I assume that's due to the cut that he had not too long ago up against South Africa, when Willem's spike pretty much just sliced his knee open like it was roast beef. So he, I think, opened that cut back up rather than a knee injury per se. He didn't look like he was really limping. It was just more that the cut, I think, got sliced open once more. We've got their loaded shedding in South Africa. Says Military, and Uruguay's bench isn't deep. Could get ugly in the second half, says Gus. Yeah, and don't count your chickens before they hatch, Mackenzie. Says Michael. If anyone on your team is ginger, you get an automatic bonus point. Really unfair. Says Cool Story Bro. Well, lucky they got Christie off the bench, eh? For the ABs in this one. Currently on the halfway line, Arata trying to get the penalty against Fletcher. Null does not receive it now. Diego Arabello. Tackled by Luke Jacobson. Why isn't Caleb Clark getting a start, says Akeem? It's a good question. I felt like maybe that was a change that they may consider making out on that right wing rather than having Will Jordan play in this one. But perhaps they wanted to see how the combination of Will Jordan and Mackenzie went. So they decided to put them both out there. That's going to be a knock on. Or was it? No, Uruguay, yes. Unfortunately, did knock it on as he went to the ground. So it is now going to be halftime in this fixture, ladies and gentlemen. 26 points to nil in favour of the All Blacks. We've got their ABs knee Quaid, says Mr. Papa Giorgio. And good lead for the ABs in the first half. Good advantage. Don't get complacent, though, says Jam Gamer. And also New Zealand for the Cricket and Rugby World Cups, says Trajan. And Uruguay should be proud. At least it's not 50 plus, says Mr. Loom. Yeah, it's been a very impressive performance from Uruguay, leaving the All Blacks scoreless for 19 minutes in this game, which is a lot more than some of the other sides have had when the ABs have gone head-to-head, and also just having a couple really good chances of their own, almost scoring the try for the Uruguayans. And good things are coming second half. Uruguay, you can do it, says Sino T. And also, after a lukewarm start, New Zealand seems to have gotten going. And I think the thing that's helped the All Blacks is less penalties against them throughout that last 20 or so minutes, as well as, alongside that, the better handling. I'm making tea. You want a cup of mate? Says Dennis. Believe it or not, I have never tried tea in my life. But I have got water, so I can drink that while you're having your cup of tea. Shades of Sig going as Roigard, says Napier. And also over there, yours, says Justin, or sorry, says Marshall. And thanks once again for your diligent commentary, Hamish. Says Glenn Woods, and I do thank you all very much for being here. I realised throughout that whole first half, I didn't say once, if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. So I might be a little bit lacking in the promotional side of things this weekend, but if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 37,000 subscribers. We're only 300 away. So if you do want to help us get there, be sure to hit that subscribe button. You never tried tea, huh? Says Sino, yeah, never tried it. Never tried coffee either. So I think a word that people would say to describe me is weird. Hamish, you should commentate drunk for a game, says M. Although anyone who knows, once I've been awake for a long period of time, when I get sleep deprived, it is almost like being drunk. We had a live stream last weekend. I think people thought that I had been heavily drinking because my brain was going in all sorts of directions. We talked about, I think, Mickey Mouse and why Goofy's allowed to stand up, but Pluto has to be on all four legs, which I feel is a valuable question. And my subscription says, Christian, thank you very much. And also, is Tyrell Lomax's injury going to be a serious one? I don't think it's serious per se, but it's just if that cut has opened up, it's going to be an annoying scenario for him of trying to close it each and every time he takes a bit of contact. Morning, Amish, says Dylan Simpson. Welcome in, mate. You are doing very well. Never drank tea or coffee. And also, we have got their valuable question, says Matthias. And Doug Howlett, a goat. Our dude had sprinter-style strides. I've seen him play many times, says Hayden. If I was as quick as Doug Howlett, I'd just run everywhere. Like, if I had to go down to the shops and get something, and I was that quick, I'd just run there. But yeah, I'm not that quick. Unfortunately, I gas out after like 100 meters, if I get that far. Actually, to be fair, 100's quite impressive. My area down 10 p.m. at the moment, charging Wi-Fi and cells. Got to prepare to hear Hamish. Says Goldberg, and also how are you, Hamish? Says not everyday culture. Doing very well, mate. And Howlett was the quickest yet. If the All Blacks play like this, the All Blacks can forget about the World Cup. And poor performance first half ABs. And also really can't get excited about the ABs. Good night. And our Scossa commentators get a paralytic win or lose. It's party on. Says Obi and below Hamish, what's your breakfast? Or sorry, what's for breakfast and any yellow red cards yet? No cards as of yet in this contest. Not actually sure what will be for breakfast because I had a banana before the stream, but I feel like I might have something afterwards as well. And also, always the best commentary. Thanks, Amy. Says Gina, love your channel and love the accent all the way from Johannesburg, says Tian. And also, when is Ethan de Groot coming back? So he is allowed to play in the quarters, I believe it is. I'm more confused about why they aren't giving to Mighty Williams too many opportunities throughout this Rugby World Cup. I feel like off the bench, anytime we've seen him, he's had a decent enough impact. And Bad Rushrooms does that, Mr. H. Says Andre, and the All Blacks are struggling because they don't play much competition rugby, especially after they left Super Rugby. Says Pierre Smith. And also we've got a lot of South Africans here. Hey, says Sino. But yeah, anyone who is still new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have got plenty more Rugby World Cup coming up, including another 7 games this weekend. And then from there are only 8 games remaining of this Rugby World Cup competition. So we get into the business end. I think it's the best way of describing it. You should show the game. It says Wasima, if we had a few $1 million to buy the licensing, we would. Because that is what it costs to be able to show licensing of these matches. Even maybe a little bit more than that. But due to not having that fund to be able to do so, that is why we're unable to show match footage on YouTube. Not without getting sued anyway. And I don't really like getting sued. It's normally something I try and avoid. The territory for this game, 53% in favour of New Zealand, and that is the same when it comes to the possession stats. New Zealand so far, 430 metres run throughout this first half, beating 24 defenders. Uruguay though, 178 metres carried. They've actually been, like I mentioned, relatively competitive at times throughout this game. 2 penalties against Uruguay, that can't be correct. I think we've seen at least 2 penalties against them at scrum time, and 5 against the All Blacks. Oh, yeah, I've got there too easy for the AB, says David. Would you see the same clean-out decisions in an Ireland versus South Africa game, says Kurt? Probably. I feel like the ones that have been given in this game have been fair enough. The likes of that Richie Mo'unga neck roll was just something that didn't need to happen when the All Blacks were on attack. They're going to strive forward. Caleb Clark says Akeem, he did miss out on selection for this game, which I guess was a bit of a surprise, but maybe that is because of the Kiwi combo of McKenzie and Jordan that they wanted to try out. How much money you need to show the game? I haven't looked up the exact numbers, but I know it would be in the millions because Sky would pay a lot of money to get the broadcasting rights to show the Rugby World Cup. So yeah, probably a few $1 million would be a good start. We don't quite have that, unfortunately. I'm pressing that button right now to help you, brother. Thanks for the live, says Richard. And also 64 points to 4. And All Blacks will win the World Cup, says the same. But looking through at Johan has put sorry in there as well. Richie Mo'unga, most points scored throughout that first half with 11. Of course, having the kicking tee I will give you, says Wasima. Okay, well, once you send it over, then we'll look at the licensing option. Herman Kessler, sitting at 9 tackles so far. He is actually the leader in this match. And also Will Jordan, 87 metres carried. Cody Taylor actually having the most carries over the gain line in this case. And I'm just curious, what do you eat for breakfast, says Morno the Grange? Normally a banana is the way to go. Would you need millions for each game, or is it a one-off, says Dylan? I think it's a one-off for the whole competition. To be honest, because we haven't had the funds, we haven't really looked into it hugely, but yeah, I think you'd be competing with the likes of Sky Sports and you'd have to try and outbid them to be able to show it. See how the South Africans like you? We like the sound of your accent, and we like and respect the AB, says Jeremy there. Hello, Max. Tweet Disney says generative. Any thoughts on the WAR game? I thought that the Warriors throughout this year, they've put on some brilliant performances. They didn't quite get it right in that game up against the Broncos, but I'm sure they'll be happy with what they can do next year. I'm hoping they'll do all right. Hoping Uruguay won't give up, get a couple of tries and keep the margin close, says Ars Robinson. And also, liking clogs up my phone, that's why I don't do it, says Trajan. And South African commentators who run channels like this have zero sense of humour. We are all way too serious, easily offended. An Aussie type of Kiwi lads should be a laugh. Hamish seems natural, says Lightbringer. Well, that's the thing. Like, I always make jokes about myself because at the end of the day, like, I try not to take things too serious. As you guys know, even like if a team's playing bad, we'll try and find the positives in it. But like, yeah, at the end of the day, being on YouTube, you kind of get used to hearing random statements. So you can either go, oh, that hurt my feelings, or you can just embrace it and just join in, if that makes sense. And also we've got the All Blacks, says Michael. And also we've got their Sky also pay for exclusivity. That's a good word, isn't it? That's one that you'd find in a crossword, I'd say. But yeah, so I'd have to move to like Thailand, and then I'd be able to buy the rights for the Thailand population and then just do it on YouTube. That would be the way to do it. I don't know why Thailand. I've never been to Thailand. I don't even know if I would ever go to Thailand, to be honest. Going to Thailand to buy a Thai could be a fun video if we had the funding. Brian has become a channel member once more. Thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. And also, I'm Uruguayan living in New Zealand. Says Eduardo, and banana is a very good choice, Hamish. Gives you energy throughout the day. Says Mornay, are you a really likeable, Hamish? Hope we can have a beer in Eddie one day. Says Dylan Simpson. I have actually been invited to Scotland, so maybe we need to try and make it happen if I do end up hopping on a plane. Rugby is the winner with your commentary, says Michael. Rugby World Cup need to open the game to a global audience. I agree. I feel like they've missed an opportunity to be able to show the game all around the world. Thailand do tricks with ping pong balls, says Krampus. Well, I'm not too bad at table tennis, but I know that's not what you're referring to. Never seen a snowflake in my life, says Lightbringer. And also, Hamish, how tired are you covering where'd that go? All these games, mate? You probably dream about rugby even when sleeping. I'll be honest, the last couple of weeks it's hit me like a truck, but we're still going. Like, my eyes are just permanently bloodshot now from what we've done over the last about 2 or so weeks with my sleep schedule. Buy a Thai in Thailand, says Michael there. And also Thailand is a plethora of pee-pee, says Mr. Papa Giorgio. You guys are awesome. You should do Thailand, Hamish. You will enjoy the place, says Peter. And mustache and beard still happening, says Fire 2. It's a bit rough though, so I do need to possibly adjust it before we get to the World Cup quarterfinals. Also the haircut, someone asked earlier on if I had one. I have not. It just sits weird now. As a proposition to Sky, you need to argue an extension of their service, not a competitive, and show references, says Kurt. And people only wear a tie, says Crumpus. There are nothing but a tie. And Thailand don't have a rugby team, says Fire 2. Exactly right. So that means that the licensing should be easier to win for somewhere that hasn't actually got like a full-time broadcaster, if that makes sense. And also, where's the tie, says Gus. It will be coming out throughout this weekend, and also all of the games of the quarterfinals we will have the tie on next week. So there's something to, I guess, look forward to. It's probably going to be the same tie as the other one. 79-78 would be an epic game, says Ars Robinson. I'm just trying to think of the highest scoring game that I can think of. I think it was probably Harlequins versus, who'd they beat? 52 points to about 48 was one of the higher games we had seen around. Very pleased to see how Hay Fever has adapted or abated. However, she must have brought a good antihistamine. To be honest, I haven't actually got around to it yet. I've just been lucky that I think now that we're into a bit more of the warmer weather, I haven't been sneezing as much. Tonga don't have a cricket team. Says Fire 2. And also, would you choose Sean Johnson or Victor Vito for the players? Victor Vito, probably, seeing as he does play Union. Why is the discussion on Thailand? What did I miss? I said that it would be the best bet for me to go to somewhere that doesn't have a rugby broadcaster and then buy the rights over there so that I can then show it. Please stick to Rugby Chat, guys. Did the Kardashians ever come out on VHS? Says Kill Story, bro. Couldn't tell you. But now, 26-0. 4 tries being scored throughout that first half. Damien McKenzie scoring the first in the 19th minute. Then it was Mo'unga in the 24th. Jordan in the 33rd. And then it is going to be 38th minute. Roy Guard scoring that last try. Did you see Wildcard on the GBR pod? I did. Wildcard going mainstream with the big boys, which was absolutely awesome to see. Of course, as a Wallaby supporter, you don't get too many as passionate as that man. So, yeah, it's awesome to see him on there. And other Kiwi lads, you are really a stunning commentator. Go New Zealand, says Rudy. But do let me know now, ladies and gentlemen, what will be, or who will be, in fact, the first try scorer of the second half. We've seen Will Jordan get one. We've seen Mo'unga get one. We've seen McKenzie and we've seen Roygard. There's no real correlation between the 4 other than the fact that they're all backs. You know, McKenzie, Mo'unga, Jordan, a couple Crusaders, almost everyone playing in the Super Rugby Pacific final, but that's not the case because Roygard's in there as well. We have got there, Tongans invented swimming. Well, there you go. I would not have guessed that. How do you invent swimming? In terms of, I guess maybe they invented the strokes. So I would have thought, swimming-wise, you fall in the water, you try and get upwards. Swimming, I guess. And also, you better hope Tonga don't get good at cricket. I'll tell you one thing that's hard is trying to hit it against a pace bowler, says Hayden. And time for Ford to score, says a Paul there. Now Cody Taylor. He had the most gain line carries throughout that first half. All Blacks, they will be kicking off from right to left. I have Roygard, McKenzie and Frizzell on my fantasy team. Would be nice if Frizzell can score the next one, says Dylan. Did you have any of those 3 as the captain, Dylan Simpson, or just in the team? McKenzie goes short with the kickoff, nicely taken by, it was Thomas Inciarte. And final score 81-0, says Jimmy O'Brien, and Tonga will hit every ball for 6, says Michael. And average 2024, says John. Would you keep McKenzie at fullback over Barrett? To be honest, from this performance, I would honestly say McKenzie wouldn't be a bad option at 15 for the All Blacks. And then maybe Beauden Barrett does have to come off the bench like he did in a past World Cup, and we'll be able to have that kind of impact. But they'll have to make the decision early and they'll have to stick with it. That's the big thing. They can't be chopping and changing. That will be the penalty for leaving the feet for Uruguay on the halfway line. Now Roygard gets across to Mo'unga, cross kick straight into the hands of Geordie Barrett, who found himself out on the wing. He's knocked it on though. So now going back for the original penalty. Now I have Pinot as my captain. Oh, okay, so playing tomorrow, of course. Damien Pinot up against the Italians. Could be a very high scoring one. We'd like to see Sam Whitelock score if he's playing. He certainly is. His 150th game for the All Blacks here. Tonga is super amazing talented, says Michael. They've also got their game up against the Romanians this weekend, which I feel like they've got a decent chance of winning. We got Brendan, has said All Blacks yell like a ding in there, and also Tonga invented the horse, says Fire 2. How do you invent a horse though? Once again, did they name it like a horse? Where does the first horse actually come from? Well, that sounds like it could be worded in a bad way, because the first horse would have had to do that to then make another horse, you know what I'm saying? But he would have had to do it with a female-friendly horsey that he took a liking to. 42 minutes in, rolling maul now for the All Blacks. Roygard slinging across to Geordie Barrett. Tries to spin, but he's held up well by Nicholas Freitas. Tonga invented inventions, says Mr. Papa Giorgio. And also the Black Cat, says John. Now stolen by Uruguay in the breakdown. I think that one is Nicolas Freitas. Send it up with the ball once more. Arata. Back to Echeverri. Uruguay having to kick it from inside of their own area, but they've gone for the cross kick, and it does just... Oh, I think that that's actually going to be Uruguay's throw. Yes, it is. Did slap the ball back into Leicester Whainanoku. Our horses came from seahorses who are asexual, says Dylan Simpson. And also France will smash the Italians, says Ivan. They should do anyway. And the thing is, that's going to become a playoff game. I guess you would need a female horse, says Jeremy. And also Bob needed to swim, says Crumpus. Horses can swim, can't they? I think. I don't know how long for, but I think they can. I saw it somewhere. Off doing a fastly 22 metres out from the try line. Now Roygar back across to Mwonga. Barrett at burst receiver gets it off to Sam Kane. Not sure how long in this game he is going to be taking part in this contest. Is that Eden Park behind you? It is not. It is Stade de France. And also vamos Uruguay, says Diego. Whainanoku, nice pick and go around the side of the breakdown. Now another advantage in favour of the All Blacks. Roygar tries the sniping run and they will go back for the original penalty. And borrowing them out are going fishing in Brizzy, says Mr. Papa Giorgio. Well, hopefully you catch something. Are you sea fishing or river fishing or lake fishing? Do let me know, Mr. Papa Giorgio. I need another try for New Zealand. And also we have, I feel another try for New Zealand. And yeah, horses in Virginia, USA swim between mainland and an island, says Gus. Cody Taylor, 10 metres out with the line out for New Zealand, taken by Vai. 2 line outs lost by Uruguay, but New Zealand sitting with 100% accuracy. Come out the back, Roygaard. Geordie Barrett, straight, flat run at Freitas. And also the fullback for Uruguay, Fletcher Null. Now Roygaard getting into the breakdown quickly, goes off to Tupa Vai. Tries to break through one, but he is tackled by Valaseca, the captain. Now Jordan flat pass off to Whainanoku. Couldn't find his offload to McKenzie. Roygaard again goes off to Fletcher Null, who is through and scores the try for the AB. So it is going to be the forward who gets himself the first try of this second half. Sounds like there was an offside anyway for the ABs. But 45 minutes in, does score for the All Blacks. There we go. And also, that's more classical New Zealand, says Ali Wood. And All Black Yao Lekading, says Sally. Vafsira is gorgeous and a lethal weapon, says Aruth there. Is it, what is an All Black? Is it a rugby player? Says Cool Story Bro. So it actually all used to come from back when the All Blacks, the colour that they would wear when they were on the field was just a completely black kit. So that is where the name originated from. But also black is one of the main country colours that we see for New Zealand in terms of sporting teams. Black Caps, the Black Sticks is the hockey team. The Black Cocks, they play badminton. Fun fact, that's actually their name. I'm not being naughty. Andrew said hello, welcome in. And 82-0 says Jimmy O'Brien. And keep it up, boys, says Hussein. Mwonga currently sitting 3 from 4. Aaron Smith telling him he's got plenty of time. And the kick from Mwonga hits the post, bounces back out. And that is now going to remain at 31 points to 0. Chuck Norris once died, but don't worry, he is okay now, says Michael. And also their Black Ferns, says Alt Gaming, very true. Those boys have balls, says Yvonne. And the Black Cock says, John, yep, team that is playing badminton. Do I eat horse? No, I don't. Chuck Norris killed death, says Krampus. And Gary, you got to get past France first, says Trajan. And when is the second half starting? It has started. It is currently 6 minutes into the second half. And that one is kicked out on the full by Echeverri. Now New Zealand going to have the scrum feed from the halfway line. So Uruguay 0 will be your score, says Marshall. And now 80-0 with that dreadful miss, says Jimmy O'Brien. The Box winning the World Cup again, says Gary. Tonga invented toothpaste, says Albert. And Tonga invented Chuck Norris, says him. Hello, Gary, says Desmond. And great try, says Brian. So it sounds like there is a change being made. That is going to be actually for Uruguay. When do the Flying Fijians play? They play at Monday, 8 a.m. is when they are going to be taking on the Portuguese, and they will need to walk away from that game with at least 1 point to be able to make their way through to the quarterfinals, where they will be taking on England if they are successful. Although I think there's still a chance that it could end up being England versus Wales, depending on the winning margin for the two teams when they do have their contest. When the second half starting, says Jay, it's once again started. Currently 47 minutes through. Mackenzie now charging through the defence, finds the offload away to Leonard Brown, pass on the outside to Will Jordan, who is dragged down 10 metres out from the try line. Shannon Frizzell, advantage offside once more against Uruguay. Moonga slinging pass off to Samasoni Tauhiaho, who is on the field now for Cody Taylor. Also to Mighty Williams is on there. Whainānuku receives the wide pass from Will Jordan. And it is going to be the assist to Jordan there. Whainānuku scores it. Seeing more and more Crusaders crossing the try line now. Here we go. Whainānuku, the try scorer in the 48th now for the ABs. Mackenzie, he is definitely putting a good foot forward towards those quarterfinal games. Great sling and pass from Will Jordan. Go the All Blacks, says Joseph. And nice Mackenzie with the break. And also was not the name a mistype of All Blacks or All Backs, says Russell. That is also a rumour that was said. That's actually what Norm Maxwell told me. He said that it was because they used to all play like the backs. So people say that it is related to that as well. I dated a German lady from Uruguay. She left me for Chuck Norris, says Albert. What do you think of the All Blacks performance so far? I feel like they've had moments throughout this game where they have looked relatively strong. There's still, I guess there was that little bit of shakiness near the start of the game, taking them 19 minutes to be able to score their first try in the fixture. Now the All Blacks starting to ramp it up just that little bit more. That kick has gone over from Mo'unga, so they will make the score now 38 points to 0. Even though the scoreboard says 39, it is 38. Uruguay number 10. He's made a lot of silly mistakes. Unfortunately, though, up against the All Blacks, little mistakes do lead to tries. Compared to if you make a little mistake up against some of the other sides that they have played. For instance, their game last week up against Namibia, they could make mistakes, but then Namibia weren't quite able to get those scores as quickly. I do see now that Buchesi has made his way onto the field. That is to replace the number 10 Echeverri. A little bit of knocking on going on from both sides here. But Uruguay, there were 2 knock-ons, so now it will be the scrum feed for Uruguay. And there as well, I'm upgrading my prediction to 65. Says Brian. Congrats, guys. Sweet dreams. Says cool story, bro. New Zealand, here we go. Says Neil in New Zealand, you got this. Says Reginald. There as well. But now 30 minutes remaining in this contest. So I guess the question mark, ladies and gents, for the All Blacks, what score do you see them getting to? Hamish looks like he can't swim, says Crumpus. I mean, I used to be not too bad at freestyle, although I'll be honest, I couldn't work out how to breathe while doing it. Like, I know you're supposed to turn and rest on your head, but I'm like, anytime I do that, I sink. So how am I supposed to breathe when there's water around me? So, yeah, you're probably right. Backstroke used to be a pain because you'd hit your hand on the side of the pool. It says 38 on the TV. It must have been an issue with flash score, says Dylan. So, yeah, it has adjusted back to 38 now. Another penalty advantage for the ABs at scrum time. Leonard Brown offload on the inside to Geordie Barrett, who bumps off Arata and makes his way up to the halfway line. Roygaard now goes to the left. Vai back to Mackenzie. The Chiefs players linking up now. Will Jordan stepping. Finds his pass on the outside to Mighty Williams. Now off to Whainānuku. Wants to go himself. He's tackled low there by Nicholas Freitas. Samasoni Tauhiaho. Good low tackle made on him again by Mieres. Now Mackenzie off to Barrett. Short pass to Jacobson, who decides to straighten with his run. Gives it off to Roygaard. The AB's trying to play this game now at an even faster pace than they were at the start of the second half. Whainānuku a long way from his wing, deciding to join that breakdown. I still struggle with the breathing and swimming, says Michael. And ABs can double this, says Jeremy. And there as well. Now to Mighty Williams, having to take out Uruguayan player Roigard trying to go for the pass, but it was the number 13 Inciarte who was up extremely quickly, not allowing the pass to happen. Jordy Barrett looks like he's got a one-on-one down this bottom side of the field if they spot it. So it's only Tokiaho now. Quickly recycle. Whainanuku again, trying to go around the side of the breakdown. Great defence from Uruguay. Forcing the ABs back once more. Here goes Fletcher Null again. Having another half chance. Now Frizzell off to McKenzie. He's over the try line and gets himself his second. McKenzie being selfish. I mean, there was a gap there. So he decided to take it on, manages to score it. And now the All Blacks, they add another try to their tally. I've got their name, the capital of Australia. It is Canberra. Is it just me or the bench coming on earlier in this World Cup? I noticed it with the box as well, says Dylan Simpson. I think in these later games, they have decided to have them come off the bench just that little bit later, mainly because, a bit earlier, I should say, mainly because of just trying to avoid injuries for those big players. So the likes of, Cody Taylor's been taken off the field already. That is due to them knowing that they will want to have him for the quarterfinals. Birds can't fly backwards, says Krampus. And also 80 points, here we come, says Michael, and All Blacks will struggle against the box physicality, says Gary. Although the chances of the ABs playing the box in anywhere but the final is relatively low. Can I have a beer? Says Jimmy O'Brien. And also D-Mac man of the match, says him. It looks like Jordy Barrett has also made his way off the field. That will be Caleb Clark, I believe, who will replace him. Or maybe they go with Bowden Barrett. There will be a lot of players all in one go that are playmakers. Also Roigard taken off and Shannon Frizzell taken off. That is for Finley Christie and also the return of Ethan Blackadder into the All Blacks jersey. Uruguay trying to stop All Blacks scoring a lot of points, says Vaughan. Rugby is the only game where we can root for the underdogs, says Fire 2. And Whitelock took McCaw's record. He looks salty, says Hayden. We move D-Max, says Gareth. McKenzie, like our Damien. Too much sticky spray. Can't get rid of it once you get it. You're by far the greatest commentator. Please find a way to the final. Or for the final, says Judy. So we are going to be covering every game of this Rugby World Cup on the channel. That kick has gone over from Moonga, making it 45 points to 0 now for the All Blacks. Just the 2 kicks missed so far here for Richie Moonga. So the fact that McKenzie is scoring tries and Moonga's kicking, who did Jordy Barrett go off for? I assume that's for Caleb Clark, and maybe we do see Whainanuku transfer into the midfield because I can see McKenzie at the back right. They've just got it coming up now. So Blackadder's on the field for Frizzell, Christie's on the field for Roigard, and Caleb Clark came on for Jordy Barrett. So I wonder if we're going to see him actually in the midfield here, Caleb Clark. Going to be kicked high now from Uruguay, well cleaned up by Will Jordan. Cross to McKenzie, now Moonga. Finds Whainanuku, does it a decent enough boot on his left, although it looks like it's going to keep on rolling. It's gone too far, and they will have to go right back to where he kicked it from. 150 caps is mental considering his injuries, says Jimbo, yeah. And the fact that they probably play, let's say, 10 to maybe 15 games a year if they're lucky, the ABs. Like 15's quite a bit, but yeah. To play for over 10 years in an All Blacks kit is massive for Sam Whitelock. Okay, there was a beast ball handling, not that good though, says Jam Gamer, and Damien McKenzie for the win, says Kiara. And also we have got there, is your scoreboard behind? It is not, no. It is currently sitting 45 points to 0 after 55 minutes. It's actually a little bit ahead on the scoreboard at the moment. Richard McCaw never lost against British and Irish Lions, Pumas, Ireland, but Sammy did, says Mr. Loom. And Sam Gang doing okay so far, no disco dancing on the field yet. And which club does Blackadder play for? He is a part of the Crusaders, but also the Tasman Marcos. So he was actually playing in the NPC when he got the call up to say that he was joining up with the squad to replace the injured Amoni Narawa. But yeah, he's had a few injuries himself throughout his career, Ethan Blackadder. He's a workhorse. He'll go out there and put in some big hits when he gets the chance. Nice run forward from Uruguay. 45 metres out from the AB's line now. Good low tackle made by Jacobson. Now Rata. Going across again. Looks like Uruguay have actually made quite a few changes along the way as well here. Now Bianchi near the touch line. Just stays in the field of play. And the capital of Australia, once again, it's Canberra. You did ask that about 5 minutes ago. Listening's not your strong point, is it, Master Okoya? We have to repeat ourselves many times when you're on the stream. Now around the side of the breakdown, Ethan Blackadder trying to counter ruck, but his hand was down, so was unable to do so. Now, Uruguay, this is nice face play. Currently sitting with 8 in a row. Arata still having it on the side of the Uruguayans. Awkward landing there for the replacement 19. And also Eddie Jones must join Hamish, says Ashley there. Well, he might be looking for a job in the near future. Now Whainanukū, Christie, going across to the right-hand side. Little bit of a slip there from McKenzie. Bit of a miscommunication between him, I think, to Mikey Williams. And now Uruguay have ended up with the ball once more. Now Silva going short side to Bianchi once more. Arata. Sanguinetti. For Uruguay, the big thing here is they just haven't quite been able to make those extra meters that they're after. I think they've got a penalty advantage here, though, for Uruguay. Still better than Italy, says Denzel. And yeah, I think a lot of people anticipated Uruguay keeping this game closer than the game that happened between New Zealand and Italy. I actually felt like Uruguay were going to concede less points. Oh, that's a big shot from Tupavai right on the jaw. This looks like it could be something maybe more than just a penalty. They are going to have a look at it. It was head contact. Maybe you need some sleep. Alea, your duvet is calling, says Ruth. And there as well, no boy, this could be yellow. And I mentioned about it, the importance of penalties, or the importance of not giving away yellow cards or red cards in this game. Uruguay is sneaky good, says Dylan. Oh, yeah, no, he didn't get him too much. He got him under the arm, so should be fine. Should just be a penalty in favour. Okay, penalty only. And also, no, it's Wellington, says Master Okoya. And also, capital Australia is A. Oh, tell you what, David, you might be onto something there. At 11, Uruguay, thought he was playing soccer, says Mr. Kiwi for life. And no card, says Jimbo, and capital of Texas, says John. And thanks for the coverage, says Nikki. Thank you very much for being here. And Vai, I won't be missed if he got red carded, says Glenn Woods. Yeah, that's true. I don't think you'll get too much game time throughout the playoffs anyway, but we'll make the decision just that little bit easier for the All Black selectors. Now, currently 22 minutes remaining. All Blacks already do have themselves the bonus point, and as the table sits, it will mean that it is the playoff game between Italy and France taking place tomorrow. And if Italy somehow win that game, they would knock France out of their own Rugby World Cup. We have got there the capital of Australia is kicked out of the World Cup, says NZ. And also best decision made all game, says Jobo. Now, look like Silva once again wanted to play half and instead leaves it for Gisler. It's kicked him behind from the All Blacks. The ball is loose. Leonard Brown couldn't quite line it up, so Christie gets it across the Samasoni Tauhiaho. Driven towards the touchline, but the AB's 15 metres out from the line. Now Jacobson goes back to McKenzie. Slinging pass. Whainanukū, rough pass there. Doesn't quite find the hands that he was after. Vai gives it off to Caleb Clark. Tries to charge straight at the Uruguayan defence. Now to the short side once more. Whainanukū. Sides against going to Mo'ungu, was extremely close to the touchline. Show us the game, says the Dark Champion. Unfortunately, due to licensing, any match footage or audio gets you taken off YouTube for 3 months and sued. So we cannot do that, sadly. But the option to be able to watch the game is on the Rugby World Cup website. They've got the list of where you can watch it, depending on whereabouts you are around the world. Now Christie going to the right again to McKenzie. Jordan goes short to Blackadder, who has the knock on. And it will now be the scrum feed for Uruguay. Even Blackadder style of play reminds me a lot of Liam Squire. Liam was recklessly hard and brave, says Kernowick. I really want the ABs to win versus Ireland. It would be a good seeing the Irish team doing the McGregor walk around, or not doing the walk around, says Lightbringer. And also we have got there well done to New Zealand Cricket, and saw a video of Andrew Porter lifting 350 kgs like it was a prawn cracker. The power of the packs in this World Cup is incredible. So here's Brian. And also it sounds like the lawsuit could cost less than the licensing, says Dylan Simpson. That is true to your point. And Hamish is more entertaining than Eddie Jones, says Morning Lagrange. And Miss Liam Squires says, let's see, it looks like now Arata is going off the field for Uruguay. To replace him, it will be Machia. When is Blackadder coming in? He already has. He just dropped that ball, which is why it's a scrum feed for Uruguay. What's the update on Tyrell Lomax? Still sounds like it's just a little bit of an issue with the knee. Someone said it was a tweak, and then others have said that it is just due to that cut that he had from earlier on. And I also thought I'd heard some good commentary, says Mark. Now 20 minutes remaining, 45 points on the board for the New Zealanders. Only one man to bring up 2 tries so far, and that being Damian McKenzie. What do you think? Will South Africa go home? No, I think they're safe enough in that case. And also we have got there tomorrow, Netherlands beat Pakistan in cricket. Okay, a little bit too much movement there between the front rows. Next World Cup, we get commentary from Thailand, says Michael. Maybe. And also, McGregor is a lowlife. You'll never see the victorious Irish team act like that. And Howdy Hamish, great show, says Melody. Thank you very much. Anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. We are currently only sitting the 73 away from 36,800. So if you do want to help us get there by the end of this live stream, be sure to hit that subscribe button. You're exceptional. Well done, says Mark Crisp. Thank you very much. And Martin Onu is playing Please Tell Foster, says Given. Uruguay, I think it's been evident that pack weight advantage for the All Blacks throughout this game of about that 65 kgs. It'll be even more now that Tamaiti Williams is on the field. He's about 1.5 of a regular man, and it's a big push from the All Blacks. They do get themselves the penalty at scrum time. I think I picked a good game to captain D-Mac, says Vincent. Hello, says Master. Yeah, Hamish, thanks for your awesome commentary and supremely sublime soothing voice, says Ruth. And also, the Kiwis are winning then, says Goldsmith. In this game, they are. You must get sick of repeating yourself about copyright, says Stration. I mean, it's one of those ones that if you don't know about the copyright side of things, though, you would be curious as to why we are talking with a scoreboard next to us rather than showing the game. So, yeah, I don't mind answering the reason that I can't show it. 2 Barretts now making their way onto the field. Ian Foster will be... Never mind. I was going to say something about a semi, but of course not talking about the finals. Scott Barrett gives the handshake to Sam Whitelock. 150th game for the ABs. Gets a big round of applause from the crowd. And Malonga is on the field now coming off the field now for Bono Barrett. The most fun commentary is actually our Scots commentators in South Africa. Don't need to understand the language. It's all passion, says Lightbringer. And also, my boss's stolen car was tracked to Maputo. Do you think the ABs are consistent in terms of performance this World Cup compared to previous teams under Foster? Would love feedback. I think they're still lacking that consistency a little bit. They've had some decent performances along the way, though, in this World Cup. It's just been a little bit up and down, which they'll want to find that consistency before the quarterfinals. Mackenzie short ball after Whainganuku. And Bok would take the cup, says the Adventure Bros. And can the Springboks realistically beat France? Anybody? I believe so. I think that at this stage of the competition, when we get to those last 8, anyone who has got themselves through to that stage has got a chance of beating most sides in that top 8. Do like this live commentary. Go get a YouTube channel. Says Moss, that is going to be the penalty now to the All Blacks. 5 meters out from the line. Who did Bodie replace? He replaced Moonga in this one. I love all the All Blacks, says Alan Johnson. I'm just happy that I can keep up with the game live. I got some good commentary too. Shop Bro says Tinkerer. Thank you very much, mate. And who are the current centre pairs for the All Blacks? I believe that it looked like Anton Leonard-Brown was definitely still in there. And I think Whainganuku has run infield a little bit more to be in the centres rather than out on the wing. And All Blacks will win or will take the cup, says Carter. And also, he needs a radio station first, says Fire 2, although it's actually more illegal to do it on the radio than it is for us to do it on YouTube, fun fact. Because if you are doing radio-style commentary on the radio, then that actually infringes on the New Zealand broadcasting radio rights. I learnt from Super Rugby, because we almost had to go through a board of radio rights because they felt like what we were doing on YouTube, even though it wasn't on the radio, could infringe on those rights. He's playing in the midfield, says St. Nick. At the moment, I believe it is Whainā Nuku and Anton Leonard-Brown as the two in the middle. And thanks for the live commentary game, which says Moss, although it does seem to be a little bit of a muddled mess sometimes for the ABs in terms of who is actually playing where. They're kind of just letting everyone take different spots. I used to do radio, says Jam Gamer. And also 17 minutes, says Jimbo. Yep, still 17 remaining. This Monopoly must end, says Rudy. And also go the All Blacks, says Rian. And the owner wants 73, says Janine. Box going home 29th of October with a 4th World Cup title. Says Gary McKenzie for the next try. He's playing like another 10. He does look like he's situated directly behind the scrum here for the All Blacks. A lot of scrums so far throughout this game. We've seen penalty advantage in favour of the All Blacks, but Beauden Barrett, last 17 minutes, he'll be a little bit nervous because at the end of the day, McKenzie's had a good showing at 15. How much besides rugby, what other team sports does New Zealand do the Haka? Why doesn't the cricket team do it? Why does the New Zealand women's rugby team do the Haka, says Rishan? So other sports that you see them doing it, basketball, we see it in rugby league as well. I'm not sure about the hockey team, whether or not they do it. Yeah, quite a few New Zealand national teams do end up doing so. Now, ball has gone in now for the All Blacks. They didn't get the advantage that time, but Christie with the ball off to Whainā Nuku, Beauden Barrett, quick hands. Will Jordan will score himself another one for the All Blacks. That is now a double for him. It's a race at the moment between McKenzie and Jordan for who can get themselves the hat trick in this game. They are both still out on the field as well, but Jordan gets a double. And also Australia national game. Also cricket, says Master. And Geordie for the practice move. Nice try, quick hands, says Ellie. And why the score standing still, says Ashley Erasmus, because they hadn't scored any points. But I think the clock was also frozen in there. I'm pretty sure the long sticks have a Haka, says Gus. And get Frizzell back out on the pitch, says Dylan Simpson. And also Aussie Rules, Rugby League, Rugby Union in the order for winter sport in the land of Oz. And is Beauden Barrett on fly half? A little bit, but they've also got McKenzie lurking as a possible fly half option. So, yeah, I think Barrett theoretically on paper is the 10. But then saying that, in the next one, maybe we see it switch. Finley Christie trying to put the fin up on Will Jordan's head. It looked like he was the annoying little brother that Will Jordan wanted to try and avoid in that try celebration. You go All Blacks, says Marshall. And also 2 Barretts, 2 plus 2 equals 4 for Uruguay, says Rudy. Now McKenzie lining up the kick, has got it straight down the middle of the sticks. Now making the score 52 points to 0 in favour of the All Blacks. I want to see Clark run it straight. Ouch, says Jam Gamer, and saw them all train in the the Sea Point Virgin Active Gym when the World Cup Sevens was in Cape Town, says Michael. And which Haka was that? I didn't recognise it, says Jimbo. I think it was, someone said it was Kapo Pango, but it did start with a different little part at the start from Sam Kane. This ball is easy though, says Denzel. I mean, at the end of the day, they can only take what they're given, can't they? They can't say during the polls, oh, we don't want to take part because we haven't got the competitive teams in the grouping as well. Like, at the end of the day, the quarterfinals is where most sides are trying to get to. And, you know, maybe having slightly easier games will hurt them, or maybe it will help them in the later stages. Did you do Hakas at school, Hamish? Says Dylan. I think our rugby team did one. The reason I say did one was because they only had enough for one game, and then after that we had like no rugby team, which was a bit of a shame. Also, we have there, sure they do, says Jay Lee. And the score will be 57 as I turned 57 today. Says Charles, happy birthday to you, mate. Hopefully you are enjoying your birthday so far. It's just changed to 57. They haven't scored that next try that I've seen as of yet, although it looks like maybe they're about to. Will Jordan goes off to Caleb Clark, now passing wide to Leonard Brown. Christie's calling for it on the inside, but it will be Whainā Nuku who scores his second of the match now. I'll go like this, and we'll go like that. Finley Christie, he was begging for it on the inside. He was going, this might determine if I make it through to the playoff games. And Whainanoku said, no, I'm good, thanks. And hi, Owen Hamish. I was on company tablet watching. Now I'm home, go the ABs. Says Robert, it's great quick hands. Nice bit of work from Caleb Clark to get it away to Leonard Brown, and then just the easy draw and pass out to Whainanoku, who had McKenzie on the inside if he did need him. But Leonard Brown getting it right in the end. The pass away, the whole All Blacks team getting a try. Says Ashley Erasmus, and also nice says Jam Gamer. Now 3 players with the double. Oh, Finley Christie once again putting the fin up for Whainanoku. Also participation tries. Says David Vickers, the whole All Blacks getting the try, and also come on Los Teros. Uruguay get 1 try at least. Caleb with the break. He didn't run it straight, but he made a break. Says Jam. And also time zones are crazy for guys. Says Denzel. And also for girls. Normally a bit of a crazy time zone as well. How many tries is Will Jordan on? Out of how many games, says Luke. So he has scored 2 in this game. I believe in total now for this Rugby World Cup, he's up to 4. Christie is annoying, says Dylan Simpson. I'm glad I'm not the only one who was thinking it. Now that kick has gone over. 59 points to 0 after 69 minutes. And this game, Big D-Mac captain, Jordan and Leicester. Been a good opening game. Says Gareth. What's the fin sign for? So pretty much it is a throwback to the Tasman Marcos in the Bunnings EBC, seeing as they all play for the Marcos, which of course have the fin in there. So that is why he's doing that to the players. How much time is left in the game? Still another 11 minutes remaining. Chrissy is bad. He better step it up 2 notches, says Champagne Lord. It's my birthday today, says Goldberg, so happy birthday to you too. And yeah, I would end up playing it on the guitar, but the guitar is quite far away. Can you speak Māori, Hamish? Not a lot of it, only a couple sentences. I do know. It's kicked in a touch by Bowden Barrett down towards the halfway line. I thought he's copying the hammer. Says, no, it's just the Tasman Marcos. They have got the fins up sign that they normally do. And All Blacks Fiji final, says health for wealth. And the most played game in New Zealand is concern, says Fire2. And Uruguay robbed, says Squid. Did you watch the World Cup match with New Zealand and England today? Sadly, I didn't get to see it, mainly because I was asleep during the night with the big weekend that we have got coming up. I see how much better the ABs go playing ball in hand instead of silly booting the ball away for habit, says Kinowick. And Kelda says Dawn, welcome in. Now, going to the right-hand side here, Finley Christie off to Damien McKenzie. Rush defence on Black. Get a great hands from Caleb Clark. Moves up to the halfway line now. And the penalty goes the way of the All Blacks for no clear release from Uruguay. McKenzie now with Lena Brown. Skip pass out to Will Jordan. Goes for the chip and chase. He's looking for his hat-trick here. Can the bounce be in his favour? It is not. And instead taken back by Uruguay. It will be the 5-metre scrum now. It's game over for Uruguay. Who's the most tries in the World Cup, says the Black Samoan. I believe, if I'm not wrong, it's still Harry Arundel. I have a quick look here though. But I think from, most tries still Harry Arundel, and Darcy Graham also has 5. But Arundel got 5 in one game, and he's sitting at the top of the bunch now. Pinot and Rainak both sitting on 4. Bundy Aki the same. And then Will Jordan now falls into that category also. Didn't you say it was 59-0? I did, yes. It is currently 59-0 after 71 minutes. Are they going to bury these boys, says Jay Lee. New Zealand, says Dawn. Will Kane be on the bench next week? I honestly feel like he has to be. Like, in terms of if you were going to start him or have him come off the bench, I think he's got to be off the bench. I don't think we've seen enough from him in this game to warrant him being in the starting side. Saying that, he is still out there on the field. He is going to be playing 80 minutes by the looks of it, so they're testing out the gas tank. We have got their second-tier teams like enough game time. That would be great if they played more, says Denzel. And I hope that the World Cup, from what we've seen here, tells people that they should have more games for the lower-ranked sides. Mackenzie Hurt, says David Vickers. I believe he's still all right at the moment. Mackenzie, that I know of. Handsome Magic, says Ashley. And Uruguay fans left alive, says Jay. No, they're still sticking around. Quite a few Uruguayan supporters of their side. And Mackenzie directly behind the scrum. Finley Christie looking for it, but instead Jacobson tries to flick it off to Christie. finds his offload away to Whainganuku, shut down by Valaseja. In fact, no, sorry, it was actually the man on his outside, Inciarte. Christie going to the right off the Semisoni Taukiaho. And Hamish, do you think Wales will make it to the final? I do not know. I think that they'll go all right in their quarterfinal, but I don't know if they'll get past the Argentines. There's a new advantage now in favour of the All Blacks. Mighty Williams tackled low by Chavetta. Now McKenzie off to Whainganuku. Around the side, Tupawai once more. They are getting within a couple metres of the try line. Looks like Mighty Williams is going to back himself. He's hard to stop and he's gone over there, Williams. I reduced the game to 60 minutes. Will improve tier 2, says Jimbo. To Mighty Williams, another Crusaders player. At the moment, this list is getting relatively long, and it is the first try ever for Mighty Williams in an All Blacks jersey. I honestly feel like he's got a decent chance of starting in the next contest. Hamish got a South African fan base. Well done, mate, says Lee. And told you, so All Blacks by 60 plus, says Hone. And also, rugby is not that hard, mostly jogging, says David. Sounds like you didn't make many tackles when you were playing, David, by the sounds of it. Or maybe not really getting involved in the action that much. And New Zealand is playing against communists, says Denzel. And Darcy Graham's made out of raw iron. The Leprechauns ain't going to be able to touch him, says, it was there from Gareth. Okay, Ofatoinga Fussy. Okay, Fletcher Null has got some sort of injury here. Injury or calf. That's 2 tight head props gone for the All Blacks, if he isn't all right by next week. The kick has gone over from Bowden Barrett. Get a point, Uruguay, says David Gray. Yeah, we don't normally see Bowden Barrett doing the kicking, so that would reference maybe a McKenzie, little bit of a knock that he has taken as well. Mostly jogging and bust, says David. And also, do you think Fiji should be added to the Rugby Championship? I believe that there is a big argument being made at the moment for Fiji and Japan to both be added in. So, I mean, I would like to see it personally, and I feel like it will be good for those sides. But then we also got to remember, if they join the Rugby Championship, that pretty much destroys Samoa and Tongan rugby in the process, because then you don't have the Pacific Nations Cup, unless, of course, they look at joining up with maybe USA and Canada as the other option. But yeah, as soon as Fiji and Japan leave the Pacific Nations Cup, you pretty much lose Samoan and Tongan rugby until they build up that little bit more once again. It's going to be the penalty to the All Blacks. Nil, says the Wallaby. And also no penalties, says Rudy there. And Uruguay go home and play football. That's better for you, says Master. And it's 5 minutes left. Here comes the upset. Come on, Uruguay, says Paul. And South Africa supporter, listen to Hamish. But when South Africa play, I use headphones not to upset my dogs, says Ali. And please pray for another try, says Janine. And also, why not picking myself, says Barbarian teams? That is another option, although I guess the other side of things there is with the schedules that the teams are on, it would be relatively tricky. And for Samoa and Tonga to combine in that manner would probably not benefit them that much internationally, mainly because they'll be playing in a completely different combo. And Uruguay still has this, says Dylan Simpson. Now going to be Whainganuku offloading up to Ofatoinga Fussy. You're hoping to avoid injury in this game. That is the main thing for the All Blacks. And Sam Ascora Mighty, says the Wallabies. And USA were knocked out by the mighty Namibia, says Michael. And there as well. Now slinging it off to the right-hand side here for Finley Christie. Half a chance there for the ABs once more. Now to Bowden Barrett. And down 10 now. Okay, noted about the combined team proposal, thanks, says Michael. Why Japan in the Southern Hemisphere Championship, says Akaris. It just makes sense in terms of the time zones, and also with the fact that they will be able to bring a lot of licensing or a lot of money to the competition, which is something that, of course, Sansa will have to take on board at the end of the day. That's a third for Whainganuku breaking his way through. It didn't look like he should have been able to get over there, Whainganuku, but he enjoys lurking around the side of the breakdown with those pick and goes. Has scored himself the hat trick here for the All Blacks. I will never forgive Martin Guptill, says Denzel. Is that for stealing Laura from you? And also we have got there who will automatically qualify for the next Rugby World Cup. So in this group, more than likely it will be Italy, who do get themselves that automatic qualification. And Uruguay and Namibia will both have to go through the qualification process here once again. I feel like South Africa is not going to make it to the quarterfinals. I hope the Scotland game is going to be a good one. You're the man, bro. Excellent commentary, says Hone there as well. But it was a nice run from Samasoni Tolkiaho to get them within 5. Then from there, Whananuku just flops himself over the try line. Gets himself the third. Great commentary, Hamish. Good insight. Says Tar. Thank you very much, mate. And also, my gran is recording the match on VHS, last VHS player in Pretoria. Give the dietitian a run on the field as well, says Robin. And Bowden Barrett gets the kick over once more. That will make the score now 73 points to 0. So we are currently sitting on the exact same score as New Zealand had up against Uruguay. My 80-0 is still on, says Jimmy. And also congratulations to Uruguay, says Luke. And brilliant, so much possession and very few errors this half, says Ali. And also, man, New Zealand are making so many mistakes, still making them look like children, says David. And also, is that the right score? It is now, 73 minutes after 78, or 73 points, sorry, after 78. Great chat, says Harris Crunches. Caleb Clark charging back up towards the 22. Dragged down by Inacio Piculo for the Uruguayans. The replacement tie prop. Now Bowden Barrett pins his ears back. This is something we don't see from Big Bowden too often at all. He's kicked it in behind. That's what we normally see from Bowden. He's kicked it dead. Right. So Bowden Barrett showed us he can run with the ball. Then he showed us that he likes to still give it away. I must say this commentary is really nice with load shedding. And also, please, says Janine. And also, what did you think of Pollard versus Tom? I thought he did everything he needed to. Like, there wasn't really too much more could have done. He made his tackles, got his kicks over. Marnie Libok off the bench looked pretty decent as well. FFS Bowden says Jam. So he tried to get the banana kick away to Damien McKenzie, but instead just booted it straight down the park and did. Nicely taken by Scott Barrett. And Jez Hamish bang on commentary, mate, as always, says Kerno Wick. Shall mention anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are on the road to 37,000. We are here for every game of the Rugby World Cup, including the quarterfinals next week and the 3 games that are taking place in the near future. So if you do want to help us out and hit that subscribe button, it is greatly appreciated. Is Pollard a team? Says Fire2. Pollard is not a team. No, he is a player. Now, Leonard Brown, after Will Jordan, goes to Ethan Blackadder, close to the touchline. Now Leonard Brown crossed to McKenzie. Almost able to snipe through. Christie goes to the left. Bowden Barrett, hesitant, but does get it away to Lester Whananuku, who already has himself 3 tries in this game. Wouldn't mind a 4th. I like the idea of having Pollard on while we beat up the opposition and then get money on for the last 20 to 30 to open up the play. And the penalty does go the way of Uruguay here. They are fired up as well. I think that was Juan Manuel Rodriguez who is fired up. Now Villaseca, the captain, goes out wide. Uruguay with a chance to score themselves a try. It's going to be knocked back. Sam Kane cleans the ball up, still running around. There was a knock on though from the All Blacks. And that will be the end of the game. It remains at the same points as what we saw between New Zealand and the Namibians. In fact, no, that's slightly false, isn't it? I think Namibia was 71. If I'm not wrong, yeah, it was 71-3. So very similar. And please, Hamish, always fantastic commentary, says Ruth. And that 73 prediction was spot on, says Michael. And there is an Uruguay 0, says the Wallabies. And even when Bodie gets the break, he still kicks it away, says Joe Bo. And thanks a million for the great commentary. Said it was there from Brian. Thank you very much for being here, mate. Once again, we have got plenty more live streams coming just around the corner. We have got the matchup taking place between France and Italy. That is going to be tomorrow morning New Zealand time. We are covering that one on the channel. Alongside that, we have also got some more action taking place between 3 sides, or in fact 6 sides on the Saturday. As you can see here, England versus Samoa, Wales versus Georgia, and Ireland versus Scotland, all taking place back to back to back. We are covering all 3 of those games. Japan versus Argentina, followed by Tonga and Romania, and Fiji, Portugal as the last game that's taken place of the group stage fixtures. Currently in the quarterfinals, ladies and gentlemen, we now know New Zealand have qualified. They will either be playing in this game or they will be playing in this game. If they end up as the runner-up, that is the more likely of the two, and they will be facing the winner of Pool B, which currently does seem like it could be Ireland. But we will, of course, have to wait and see. Then France versus South Africa, the other likely fixture. But with this World Cup being so unpredictable, we can't guarantee it. Great commentary, many thanks, says DJ. Thank you very much. Great call, mate, says Lee. And amazing commentary, says Kiara. They're watching from Japan. Thanks, says Cooking with Kiara. And Thailand might qualify for the next World Cup. Chuck Norris, I was spotted there recently, says Michael. And thank you, says Rudy. Thanks, Hamish, says Dali. And Hamish, a pleasure like always. Keep up the good work. Who got knackered in their match from New Zealand? Asking for a friend, says Joseph. Injury-wise, we saw Lomax look like he might have had one. And also Fletcher Null seemed like the other man. And maybe a little tiny knock for McKenzie. But I don't think it was anything too serious there. Fantastic commentary again, Hamish. Really enjoyed it, says Michael. And also thanks, ABs. Double celebrate to New Zealand cricket. And New Zealand rugby team won the game. Are you so right? As the game has its day, says Chloe. And nice to see the All Blacks are back again, says TJ. Thanks again, Hamish. Good day for New Zealand in the World Cups, says Rish. Although we do still need to give Uruguay a lot of credit for this game, of course. The way that they were able to work throughout that first 20 minutes or so, close to scoring themselves a try, just ended up missing out. Also, Abianchi, 22 tackles made. Massive effort from him for his side. And also unstoppable, says Ian Foster, who was the man of the match, says the Blacks are on. I believe it probably would have gone to Leicester Fainganuku throughout this game. And then that begs the question, has he done enough to then get selected for the All Blacks in the next week's game of the quarterfinals? Or will they stick with Mark Talia? Will we see a reshuffle? There are a lot of questions that do need to be answered. Great, Amish. I got to watch the game and listen to your commentary at the same time. Very rare. Great job, says Kerman. And also Pretoria standout, says Denzel. And thanks, my man, says Trajan in there as well. And thanks, man. Or thanks, mate. Love listening to you, says Alistini. And also, I don't know, says Dawn. And D-Mac was best by far. Yeah, D-Mac definitely needs a shout out there as well. Does he come into the starting lineup? Although Fainganuku, I do see he had the most carries over the game line with 15, 183 metres made, 3 tries, so the most points and tries scored throughout the game. So yeah, I think Fainganuku would take it just in this one. Stick with Talia for sure, says Glenn Woods. And also, I think B&B has an injury, says Lee there. And thanks, mate. Love listening to you, says Alisdine, I should say. And D-Mac doesn't make it into the starting lineup, maybe 23 at most. Yeah, I think off the bench, D-Mac would be a very good option for the ABs. And Caleb Clark definitely down in the picking order. Fainganuku is our best wing at the moment. And what Damien McKenzie lacks wholly as hairstyle, he makes up for an incredible talent, says Stefan. And how much time left? So it is full time in this fixture. Hopefully the scoreboard, there we go, has just changed over. 73 points to 0. Tonga, Samoa, Fiji have been competing in rugby for about 100 years now. Why do they still suck, says Fire 2? Well, the lack of funding and the lack of player pool probably does have quite a bit to do with it. We've got to remember, like, looking at some of those countries, like, they do not have a large population. They do not have a lot of funding that goes into their teams. And if they did, perhaps they would be right up there in the ranking. This calls for celebration. I'm out to enjoy the evening. Thanks, Aaron, says Jean. And thanks again for the commentary. And your score result was correct, says the Wallaby. Was it? Did I say the ABs to get 73? If I did, then that's probably slightly impressive. I don't even remember my score. That's the thing. I think I might have gone 73-14, didn't I? But I expected that we would see a little bit more from Uruguay in terms of the points being scored. Tell Jeff Wilson and John Kerwin to lighten up on their commentary about the box. And also, you made my birthday, bro, says Charles. So I'm glad, dear. Hopefully you do enjoy the rest of your birthday as well. And yes, it was correct, says Jean. And also, we have got there, congrats, Foster, says Jean. The Rugby Championship should be hosted in one country every year, says Denzel. So I guess that would be a little bit similar to what we saw for the Rugby Championship. I think it was 2021, wasn't it? Where they weren't really moving around too much. Come on, Uruguay punch somebody in the face, says Fire 2. I just need Scotland to win. It will be a good weekend. The box gone, says Jobo. Although even if Scotland win, there is still a chance that we don't see the Springboks knocked out of the Rugby World Cup. Of course, there needs to be a few other changes. These scores are very close each time. The issue is that South African teams are well geared against the South African France, or Yeah, France-Ireland style of gameplay. I know it's skill-based gameplay or game style like the ABs, and great prediction, Marshall. Says, Michael, great commentating, bro. Thanks for the updates. No worries at all. And we will be back tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen, for the game between France and Italy that has taken place for this Rugby World Cup. Also, alongside that, the day after, there are 3 games that are taking place back-to-back. First of which being Wales versus Georgia, followed by England versus Samoa and Ireland versus Scotland, Japan versus Argentina. That will be a determining game. And whoever wins that does go through to the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. Tonga versus Romania. That is more of a match just for pride to see who can get themselves their first win of Pool B. And then Fiji versus Portugal. The Fijians, they need to walk away with at least 1 point in that game to be securing their spot in the Rugby World Cup quarterfinals. There, the New Zealand side is very dangerous with a prediction of 40 plus against Ireland 9 points for the quarterfinals. There's the human chapter. And also we have got there really entertaining stuff. Thanks, mate. Enjoying watching it, listening to your voice like ASMR, says Ian Foster. And bro, enjoying the whole day. See you next stream. Bye, says Vishal. And please, no more nil wins in this Rugby World Cup, says the Wallaby. There is a chance we might see 1 or 2 more throughout this round. But after that, I think in the playoff games, we're certainly going to see some tightly contested games along the way. But I do thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And I will see you all for the next one.